You're listening to Backlog Banter with your host, Serial K86.
Hello, greetings, and aloha everyone to another episode of the Backlog Banter podcast. I am your host, Serial K, and as of the recording of this episode, it's, at least where I am, it's December 5th, 2020. And man, this year was a roller coaster. What do you think, guys? Do you agree with that? Would you agree with me on that?
I call it the streaming year. Like I've been just catching up with shows, and even then I'm still behind.
This really is the backlog year. This is the best year to get through your backlog.
Oh, definitely.
Hopefully you did that.
Oh, I did that on my end. Let's see. I played the two of the Yakuza games, Mega Man, and what else? Mega Man. I played the Crash Insane second time. Most of the games I played was from my backlog, except for like two. But we'll talk about that for later. Otis, for this episode I got not one, but two guests, returning guests, I should say. The first one is Otis, aka Meleemario. He's joining us again. Thanks for joining us.
Oh.
And yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm doing well.
Okay, and the second guest is Ethan, aka Gumshoe Gamer. He's also joining us on this episode. Good to have you, man.
It's me. Yeah, I'm back. You let me on for some reason. Again. Wow.
Yeah. And we had fun when we did that episode that one time. I wish I had...
That one time.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one where where you said is someone gonna leave a comment where he says good vid.
Yep. That was me.
Yes, that was you. So Otis, you said this year was the streaming year.
Yeah, because it's been a lot of because I mainly use Netflix to like watch movies and such and shows. I mean, I just prefer their output but I didn't realize that my sister had an Amazon Prime trial.
Oh, cool.
So I was like, oh my god, it's the place for like some genuinely good stuff, but also some garbage.
Oh no,
Like
yeah,
a lot
Amazon
of
Prime has
garbage.
hilarious garbage.
Almost anything on. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. Amazon Prime is like a gold mine if you're just like willing to dig through the trash. You can find some hidden gems in there for sure.
Yeah, because I watched both seasons of The Boys and Mythbusters. I finally watched as well. They just have every episode on there, as well as Ghost Stories. Yeah, Ghost Stories, the anime, and then really shit stuff like I forgot the title. It was a 3D animated movie, The Exigency. That was it. Go see The Exigency if you have Amazon Prime. It's fucking unbelievable. It's like a low budget Mass Effect.
Holy crap! Okay, I'm gonna put that on my list right now.
Yeah, The Exigency, and it's indescribable. Yeah, but we're not talking about that here. Otherwise, I could just go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is like a gaming podcast, right?
Yes. Yes, we're talking about games.
Yeah, we'll get there.
And actually, mine does actually sort of tie into a movie, but I'll elaborate later.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Oh, I see what you're doing. It's smart.
Segue. We'll get to there. So Otis, you said this year was the year of the streaming. In my opinion, this year was the year of the VTubers. Because before that, I wasn't into VTubers, and since I was out of job and had a lot of free time, I ended up falling into the hole that is VTuber world.
I still don't know what one is, aside from it's just a YouTuber with an animated icon.
See, this is funny because it's basically the same sort of situation for me. I also fell into the hole. I wouldn't say as much as other people that I personally know of, but definitely the hole. And yeah, basically, like, what in essence what a VTuber is what it sounds like, a virtual YouTuber. So
that's what the V stands for. Fine.
Yeah, that's what.
Because I was so confused what the hell that meant.
Yeah.
It's like VineTuber. Wait, no, what? No, that can't be it.
No.
Like, what's the hit service that starts with V? Nothing.
Yeah.
I can't think of it. Vimeo tuber.
VimeoTuber. Man, remember Vimeo? Anyway, so
I still use
but yeah,
only
that's
the
basically
stuff
what
that YouTube doesn't accept.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. Though I agree, because it's like there's a lot of YouTubers now, and I have a feeling, if it hasn't already, it's going to become oversaturated.
Oh, definitely.
Relatively soon.
Yeah. They were around for like 2018, 2019, but they really exploded then this year thanks to COVID and quarantine. So yeah.
In fact, it's so popular now that even live streamers are going virtual, baby.
Yeah,
I thought they were already virtual. Aside from the avatar, I don't know. You see my struggle to really understand it, even though I kind of know what it is.
Yeah, no, I get it. This is like,
Yeah.
if you don't get grasp the concept, this seems like such a weird thing, and it is.
Because there's only a small amount of streamers I watch, mainly VineSource, and like they're mostly voiceover anyway. So to me, they're already sort of virtual.
Yeah.
But that's just
technically
me.
they are.
That's my very small knowledge of streamers. Really, just that one particular group.
Yeah. So we had a lot of things to do in this year. It was a rough year. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's almost over. Thank God.
Yeah.
Oh.
And there's been some neat, at least, gaming news at least. Some not so great. Like, some interesting announcements and potentially some more, because we have the Game Awards on like the 11th, at least at the time of this recording.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there may or may not be some cool announcements. I don't hype myself up for these, because sometimes there's nothing. Remember when E3 last year just ended with a Fast and Furious game? It's like, oh
my god, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, I forgot about that.
It came out and it was shit. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, guys, we got one more exciting thing to show you. Fast and Furious.
Yeah, and they had a Netflix show as well, and that was crap as well. So
But yeah, no, like I'm not one person to like super hype up the Game Awards too, but I also am the person that's like, man, I remember the Chick Hydrobot, and I'm hoping, praying that the next time that I watch this, there'll be some other cringe that will match that.
Oh, boy.
That was, yeah. I do applaud them at least for trying to improve. Like, drop like the blatant advertisement. Like, again, it is all advertisement. It's just trailers. But it's like, it felt like they were trying a bit more in later ones. Although, yeah, nothing will top.
No, they are actually trying. Especially from last year, I felt like they was definitely trying to be more like an actual show. But it will be interesting to see this year for sure, especially since it's all got to be online now.
Yeah. With all the Nintendo Directs, I've actually gotten more used to this. I've never been to a live show for games outside of like a conference about voice acting, but that's about it. So honestly, I'm kind of used to the whole the virtual space of it, really. Anyway, so yeah, it wasn't much of a change for me.
Yeah.
And speaking about games,
yes. Yeah, we should get to that. So all of us have games from our backlogs that we're gonna discuss, because this is what this show is about. And we're gonna start with you, Otis. You got a game you picked for this episode? What you got for us?
Yes, I have. It wasn't exactly a hard pick because I don't really have access to my consoles at the moment, thanks to a room rearrangement. and I did finish this game some time ago, but I did do a bit of it on New Game Plus via a Twitch stream. So the game I'm talking about is Ratchet Clank, the PS4 version remake.
Yeah, it's
whichever.
20...
It's a weird, confused mess of a game, but I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so can you clear this up for me, because the newest Ratchet and Clank game is technically not a sequel to that game. So the reboot is technically not a reboot because they're not continuing that story.
Yes, and
right?
I'm glad that they didn't. Okay, what it is, it's a continuation from the PS3 quadrilogy. Nexus was the last PS3 game that they did, at least the main one.
Yeah, Nexus.
Rift Apart follows on from that, and I need to finish Nexus. Because I finished most of the others so many times over, but Nexus I just never got to. And I've heard great things about Nexus. It's like a shorter game.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, this game, it's a retelling of the first game with a lot of really bizarre changes I will get into.
Yeah, isn't it a tie-in to the movie that came out also around the same time?
To tie with the strangeness, yeah, the movie, I think the movie and the game are made around the same time. The game actually uses movie footage.
Really?
Because it's basically like by the gameplay, the movie. So it's not like a traditional movie adaptation, something like Spider-Man 2, where they'll add in like plot elements and then try to adapt certain things in their own strange way. And there are movie games that use footage or stills from the movie, but this one has actually the presentation to match almost with the movie. Like, it is blatantly obvious what is movie footage and what is gameplay. But yeah, like it's because even in the trailer they mentioned it's the movie of the game based on the movie of the game. It's something they did like that.
Yeah,
it's the game based off the movie that's based off the game.
Yeah,
it's kind of like what Street Fighter the movie did.
Yeah, trying to be cheeky about it.
This is legit just another Street Fighter 2 the movie the game situation.
Yeah.
Sort of, except this game's actually good. Like,
what, you didn't want to play as the general dude that was totally in the film, then they put in the game because they needed more characters?
Yeah, he was going to be Rio, and he got really screwed.
Yeah, I think he was barely. Both he and Ken were barely in this movie, I think.
Yep.
Anyway, so about Ratchet.
Yeah, about Ratchet.
So I will give a plot description. I had to write this incredibly carefully, considering that the original PS2 game and the PS4 game share the same plot, but summarizing them is different.
Oh god.
So I've kind of amalgamated it into one description. So here we go.
Okay.
Plot description. Okay, so alien mechanic Ratchet befriends escaped robot Clank, seeking help, hoping to seek help from his heroic idol Captain Quark to stop the villainous Chairman Drek's planet harvesting plan. That's the most basic way I can put it without going to specifics.
Yeah, it's basically that.
Because it's basically that.
That is the plot of the first game, pretty much.
Yeah, and this was just done from memory, not from a Wikipedia article. But yeah, so the developers behind it, Insomniac, I applaud their work output, because they're somehow able to crank out. I mean, they're not like an EA or a Ubisoft where it's like a yearly title. They'll try something like new once in a while, but it feels like there's enough of a gap between their major titles. Like, they started off with there was probably something pre-Spyro, but people knew them for Spyro first.
Yeah,
Spyro's what put them on the map for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I do have a feeling there was a game before them.
Yes,
but I don't know.
Before Spyro?
What? Before Spyro, maybe.
Yes. There's one called it was an Yeah, it's an FPS called Disruptor.
Oh my god, they made an FPS?
Never heard of it.
Yep. Yeah.
Whoa.
I think it was published by Universal, and and Insomniac worked on it. I think there was on a website or a magazine they gave it an award for best game nobody played or something like that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But also, okay, but I mean, this is also something about Insomniac, because I do think that they have like their big names that they're known for. But then I always think back to that little game called Sunset Overdrive, the game that just kind of came and went, and whenever I bring it up, it seems like hardly anyone played it. I mean, to be fair, it was an Xbox One exclusive for a long time, so that might have something to do with it.
Yeah, and before that, the third-person shooter called Fuse. Have anyone heard of that one? Fuse?
Oh, they made Fuse?
Yep. It was originally going to be called Overstrike. It was kind of be lighthearted and comedic, but then they decided to make it like dark and serious and change it to Fuse. Yeah, and many people didn't like the changes. And it was published by EA, and it came out and barely anyone played it.
Yeah, actually, now that I'm looking up, Insomniac does have a long list of games that they've been involved in. So props on them. But yeah, it's always kind of this. They do tend to shy away and try something different once in a while from, I guess, what they're known for now. Yeah,
and I'm surprised it took them a while before they got bought by Sony, because they were known for being studios alongside Naughty Dog. They worked a lot on Sony IPs. Spyro, Ratchet. Anyway, speaking of Ratchet, I think we should go back to 2016 game. Yeah, go ahead, Otis.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, what was I going to say? So yeah, so following the third Spyro game, they Insomniac made the first Ratchet, and as a story, it's like basically there's themes of there's sort of like a weird environmental theme going on.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like it's basically the main villain is harvesting planets.
Mm-hmm.
This is in the PS2 one. It's sort of downplayed in the story of the remake.
Is it less about the environmental message and more about like the characters then, or
it's a strange one, because the game itself, okay, like it has the same plot points and such, and as a game it plays the same, but like there is so many like differences as I stated. It's like I just wrote a whole list. It just kept going. Like it's not super long, but the environment.
I gotta know.
Yeah, so I gotta go. Okay, so I'm losing my thoughts here. So yeah, following. So basically, I might just start with like how I got introduced to the series itself.
Yeah,
might be a good point. So basically, I was a GameCube kid.
Mm-hmm.
I only ever like had that. That was my first console. Like no PS1 until like years later, aside from a couple of times when I went around my cousin's house. Mm-hmm. So randomly, there was like one time we got home from school. Randomly, our next door neighbor said, "Hey, you want to buy my old PS2?" And it came with Ratchet and Clank and Gran Turismo 3, but no memory card.
Wow.
The thing is, yeah, the game was actually sort of. I didn't know what an RPG was, but Ratchet and Clank has a lot of RPG mechanics.
Really? I never thought about it.
Yeah, I would say I only have experience with the first Ratchet and Clank game.
Yeah. They didn't introduce leveling up weapons until the
the second game.
The second game, yeah, that's where everything like really ramped up, because people like will still sing their praises about that particular entry and later ones as well.
Yeah.
I was kind of still getting into how consoles worked, because I played PC games where they just save for you, or you could save yourself. Having to buy a little plastic accessory to save was like a foreign concept to me. I was like, wait, what? You have to buy this to save?
Oh.
It's like a relatively long form game. Like it's not. I don't know how. It's not like a lengthy game, but it's a good chunk of adventure. So yeah.
I'd say it's easily about maybe a 15-hour game, maybe a little more.
Because it's one of those ones where, yeah. So it put emphasis on its gadgetry as well. Like you'd have a whole inventory full of them, very easily accessible via just one button, except no pausing. Like if you in later entries, if you held a certain button to bring up your inventory, it would pause the game. The first game it doesn't, because it will kick. The first game is one of the hardest actually, because it will just keep kicking your ass.
Yeah, especially
in certain areas, especially.
Yeah, especially.
Whereas I think later games, the PS4 Sorry.
Yeah, you're right. The first game, especially, and the final last levels are. Yeah, it ramps the difficulty a little bit.
Brutal, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of happy that, at least with the PS4 one, they kept the level of challenge in without going overboard.
Really?
Because I was honestly surprised, because I thought, oh, they're going to play it down because it's tying in a movie aimed for kids. No, this game will, it's not like Ratchet 1 hard, but it's still challenging, and I appreciate that, especially because it makes it feel like any fight was actually earned, which was a good thing. So, and also, yeah, it is weird retroactively having the RPG mechanics in game 1 when originally it didn't have those.
Yeah.
Aside from, I think, health, that was about it, I think. Because they added things like strafing in later games, where you could actually focus on a target instead of having to snipe them from a distance, if unintentionally, because I don't think they built the first game that way.
Yeah.
Because the only way to win certain fights was to stand back and just fire, and then keep retreating to a salesman who would just sell all your weapons. Because this galaxy is weapon crazy in the games.
Yeah, the Solana galaxy.
You can just buy weaponry at any sort of vendor, and they'll just give it to you. Just have enough bolts, and that's the main currency. Everyone just uses bolts.
Boom, yeah.
Because that's a big. Because it's funny, because in the movie itself they don't bring up stuff like that. Like there's no bolts and stuff. I wasn't expecting them to. I just thought it'd be kind of funny. It's like, hey, they're like characters trading bolts for something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, back to the plot summary. Basically, so this is the way the PS4 version differs.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on, wait. Am I going in the wrong place? No, was it? Sorry, I lost my place on my notes. So yeah, no. Hang on, rearrange my thoughts. So yeah, no, it introduced me to platforming, and then basically each game is consistently good in this series. Like I won't go over many of the other titles, but I noticed that after the third PS3 game, there was a dip in quality. Like they started doing weird spin-offs like All for One and Q-Force, which had to be renamed because the American title was Full Frontal Assault.
Yeah.
Yeah, best title. Best title.
And actually, I mean, because I don't know how different your regions are in terms of the game's titles, because the subtitles were ruder in America.
Oh, yeah, there's a bit of an innuendo in the American versions of it.
Every subtitle is an innuendo, except I think for one.
Yeah, since the second game, going commando, up your arsenal.
Even Rift Apart.
Yeah. I didn't understand if Rift Apart was supposed to be an innuendo or not.
I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is. Or at least I want to believe it is.
I honestly don't know. It feels more subtle to me. I'm just like, is this an innuendo or not? I think someone explained it to me, and I've completely forgot. But either way, So for a while, okay. So I was playing these games not at launch, but close to it, and then for a while I kind of thought that the dip in quality was around Ratchet Gladiator, which for some reason was renamed. It was renamed from Deadlock, and I was just like, is Deadlocked rude over here? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Yeah, it's got the word dead in it. Oh, can't have that.
Oh, it's still got a 3+ rating.
Is it?
Yeah, the first game was rated T in America. It got a 3+ rating here.
Oh, yeah.
I still find that very funny. Because I think none of the games really got anything higher than a 7, aside from PlayStation All Stars and PlayStation Move Heroes, which, by the way, I think is one of the worst games Ratchet has been on. You guys ever play PlayStation Move Heroes or even own a PlayStation?
I actually own it. I got it as a hand-me-down from a friend of mine, but never played it.
Yeah, it's not very good. And the worst mainline Ratchet game, because I thought Gladiator was bad because there's barely any platforming. It's mostly an arena shooter.
Yes.
In retrospect, it's not bad because the worst one I played was Q-Force because that's a really shitty tower defense game.
Is it?
It's fucking bad. It's 5 hours long, has an inconsequential story where they try to bring in like a minor character from 3 as the villain, and it's the definition of a filler game.
Really? Because I own a lot of Ratchet Clank games, but I've yet to play. Because the last game I played was a crack in time, but I might get to those later. Yeah,
please.
It's good.
The PS3 mainline ones are great. All for One, don't play that on your own. I don't imagine it being much better with 4 players.
Oh.
You can't even play that one online because it was an online pass game.
Really? I don't remember that.
Yeah, no, I played it alone, which is probably the worst way to play the game. But yeah, so in retrospect, it kind of leads me into the PS4 game where there was that dip in quality. Nexus brought it back, and then the PS4 one, brought it up again. Where it's like, oh wow! And then seeing Rift Apart, it kind of, re-cemented my hope in these games.
Yeah, it looks promising.
Yeah. So inherently, as a game, the PS4 one, it plays well, but it suffers presentationally, being tied into a movie because the movie itself was by a smaller studio, Rainmaker, who I think were renamed something else. They used to be Mainframe. They did a reboot to the CGI series.
Really?
Yeah. I think you can find it all on YouTube. I never watched it, but I heard good things. Like, despite the dated CGI, I heard it had a good story.
I think I've seen a couple episodes of it.
Yeah, this is news to me.
Yeah, there's a Netflix sequel, but it's apparently terrible in live action.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, then nope.
Yeah. I've heard of it. Heard it's bad.
Until just now. And this what was bizarre about this movie was it was out the same year as Angry Birds, which was animated by Sony, and did so much better because they had more marketing behind it. Ratchet was such a small release, at least in this country, because I saw one cinema list it. Because did you ever show in your guys' countries at all?
It did actually.
Okay.
I vividly remember back when theaters, were a thing. You remember that, guys?
I still do. It's still technically sort of open, just at smaller capacity.
Yeah. There used to be like some promotional marketing for it within the actual theater. I never saw it in theaters though.
Yeah.
I did see it later. That the film that ties into the game. And it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
Cyril, you seen it at all?
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's really easy to find on DVD here because yes, it got a DVD only release, whereas other countries it came out on Blu-ray.
Oh, might have to check it out.
Yeah, like
check it out
that's the thing. I have heard that a lot. Like apparently, you guys generally will get DVDs but never like Blu-rays, which is really weird.
What sucks is that they used to do things called double play Blu-rays where it come with a DVD and a Blu-ray. Not anymore. You have to buy them separately, and the DVDs often have less features or none. Especially like you get Disney movies with 0 bonus features, yet the Blu-ray will have tons. It just makes the DVD look like shit by comparison.
Yeah, so it's a little bit bare-boned compared to what it used to be.
Yeah. In fact, the screening of Ratchet was so small that we ran into a friend of my brother's. Like that's how it was. Like, oh, small world. Really, that was just such a weird fucking coincidence. Like a great time at the cinema. It was literally a really small screen. I'm talking like 5 or 6 rows because it was a 3-screen cinema and it had two smaller screens off to the side.
Oh, wow.
So it's just like, yeah, seriously. So, and the only newspaper ad I saw for it, like any sort of advertising. I saw none on TV, and the only newspaper ad for it had the caption "Kids love it" with a Z, a cross between Star Wars and Guardians of the Galaxy by Kids Call It.
Wow.
Do you know if this? Like, do you know?
Wow. Kids.
Yeah. And it's just like, go to that site, or not. It might be infected with malware. I don't know. But they have a Twitter, I think, somewhere. I mean, the site might be okay. I don't know. I did look at it to try and look up the reviews. They're absolutely insane, because I think it's just a dad and his kids, and like he'll like make these really positive reviews for things that are like mediocre at best. Like he gave, I think he gave Ratchet Clank 4 out of 5. And he gave Animal Kingdom Let's Go 8 5 stars.
I never.
Which is a complete movie. It's a French movie with motion captured monkeys.
Oh no, that sounds
awful. And it's like it's not. It's honestly that led me down a rabbit hole of that game. But yeah, and it's actually not the first PlayStation movie. Surprisingly, do you want to guess what the first was?
Let me guess. Heavenly Sword.
Yes, direct to DVD in 2014, and they replaced the actors.
Yeah.
So instead of Andy Serkis, Alfred Molina.
Yeah, I think that's a downgrade.
I played Doc Ock.
Yeah, because in my opinion, Andy Serkis's performance as the bad guy in that game was so over the top and hammy. I loved it.
I want to finish that game. I got to the final battle, but then like the frame rate really got to me, and it's just like I can't do this. It's like that and the combination of the 6-axis controls.
Also, you can't.
Places.
I think also you can't skip cutscenes.
No, but I'm thinking, well, if I just start a fresh save, I think I'll tolerate it more. I'll see. But yeah, and also the same year, Ratchet, they were gonna have a Sly movie.
Yeah,
Sly movie.
Yeah, I heard about that movie. And then
I remember seeing the trailer for that. I was so hyped for that. I was like, yeah, this can work. This can really work. And what happened?
Yeah, that was a proof of concept actually.
But
it wasn't from the movie. Like the studio just made it. But what's weird, apparently that movie has been turned into a TV show, but it's not been released yet, and we don't know if or how it will. Because I have a feeling they'll probably just dump it out on Netflix sometime.
Yeah, they probably will.
Yeah, and the thing is, I liked the designs, but the thing is, Murray's design, the hippo, kind of freaked me out because he looks super sweaty.
Ew.
And sunburnt. Like, do you know what the characters look like? Like Murray, the hippo, is supposed to like wear a blue shirt, relatively husky. They kind of like squashed his face down and made him look more like a repair mechanic, and they gave Bentley eyeballs.
Oh.
Whereas they showed
Well,
there's one redesign, the redesign, where Sly is relatively the same, and they made Murray look more like his in-game counterpart, and it looked fine. But that's the only new image.
Are we talking about in-game from the trilogy or in-game from the 4th game? Because 4th game, everyone got redesigned.
Honestly, I thought they looked relatively the same, aside from a slight color palette change.
Oh no, Murray is totally different. Murray is totally different in 4th game.
Yeah, I'll have to compare them. Honestly, I mean, if you look at Game 1 Murray, then yeah. Anyway, that's another platforming series, which is also great. But yeah.
Back to Ratchet. He said the game.
Yeah, back to Ratchet, and also Yeah,
the gameplay he said was fine, but lacking in presentation.
Yes, exactly. Because the gameplay, bizarrely, is the least I have to talk about. Because so the gameplay is mainly a platformer with shooting. You shoot at enemies. You can whack them with your Omni wrench. The weapons are really fun to use, but one is sadly locked behind pre-order DLC.
No.
Yes,
you can't get it. Like, is it just pre-order only?
I think they made it free later. I don't know.
Okay.
They had to.
Yeah, I think they had to at least. Yeah, and the funny thing is, the game is thankfully consistently challenging. There's secrets to find. You can find gold bolts, and I think the maps are relatively the same as the PS2 original. Like, they're small, but heavily detailed. There's a lot of secrets.
Really?
Yeah, and they just look nice. Like, I don't own a PlayStation 4 Pro. I mean, I have a standard PS4 with a 2 terabyte hard drive USB, because 1 terabyte surprisingly isn't enough to install all your games.
No, you need like
That's my
5.
main criticism about the PS4. Everything else I like mostly. But yeah, no, it's a great fun time. And the funny thing is, the final fight, it felt like it would almost break my thumbs. I'm not kidding, like, because you make use of a jetpack. It's like I've never fought harder to win a final boss, I don't think, at least not recently.
Okay. Here's a question though. Since you played the original Ratchet in Clank, how would you compare the gameplay? Is it like pretty much the same sort of level, or would you say that there's a lot more polish in the remake to make it a better experience, quote unquote, when you're just comparing gameplay?
It's definitely an upgrade, because the funny thing is regarding levels, I think the layout is mostly the same, but some levels were actually cut or heavily altered in some places.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think there's actually less planets to visit, at least slightly. Like they cut at least, I think, about 2.
Really?
So
probably to put it in tie with more of the game, because the game also, the movie didn't have a lot of exploring different planets.
That's a weird thing with the movie. He only visits about 3 planets and never fires a gun.
Oh yeah.
That's so strange. Like he will use his weapons.
Meanwhile, in the game, here's all these guns.
Yeah, in the game, he's just loaded, like he should be. But it's just like so weird in the movie that there's like he doesn't go to many places. He's mostly about 3 planets, I think, at least that, and then like mostly space station, and that's sort of it. In fact, actually, regarding the levels, because like the whole point of the villain's plan direct, which I'll get onto, is he's using a planet destroying machine to build his own planet.
Yeah, for his
and you can kind of see his destruction. Yeah, you can kind of he's going like basically you can kind of see the effects of his because tying into the environmental thing, there's like robots soaring down trees and like there's just huge craters in certain planets.
Reminds me a lot of like Sonic, early Sonic anyway.
Yeah. Snooping as usual, I see.
Yeah.
But yeah, the no, like basically there's more of a, whereas you don't really feel that as much in the PS4 one. They don't. It's like they didn't really draw attention to it hugely in the PS2 one either, but it felt like there was more of a tie-in to what was going on. It's like basically he builds like a mega planet essentially, whereas this the actual climax is just on a space station. And it's like, oh, you don't even set foot.
Oh, that's kind of lame.
Yeah, you don't even set foot on the destroyed planet, the built planet. I don't think. Yeah, it's just like because it's been a while since I played the PS2 one, but being one of my first PS2 games, the fact I can memorize pretty much all of it is kind of a testament to how good the presentation was, and the fact that as characters themselves, which I can't believe I'm not mentioned until now, the main duo don't exactly get along.
Yeah, in the first game, I think they started getting along for a little bit, and then they had some.
No, this was like the biggest thing that even I noticed, at least from watching the film and playing the first game. And this new one, they like really don't like each other, like almost to the point where why are they even still here? In the first game, there's a lot more moments where they like, oh no, they start to build like a connection. And I think it's a little bit more believable.
Because when you get to this the Sunny Pokataru level, Ratchet is fucking pissed at Clank.
Yeah.
Like this sunny tropical planet is a real contrast to the mood between the two characters, and I just think it's sort of brilliant.
Yeah.
Whereas that's not there as much. In fact, like Clank in the remake just kind of shows up. Whereas, I mean, it's kind of the reason for Ratchet going off planet, but then it as I say, I think there's people out there who probably do like a better side-by-side comparison than me, because there's so many differences. It's mind-boggling. Let's see. Oh yeah, in terms of back to the gameplay a little. So there are mini games spread throughout the game. You get to ride a hoverboard for a race.
Yes.
And in the original game, you could exploit that by glitching through a wall to suck up bolts, like they infinitely respawn. Because in this game, you will need to grind for bolts to buy ammo, so you can actually get through some of the levels, because the checkpoints are complete crap.
Yeah.
Or it's really inconsistent.
Yeah.
Whereas the PS4 game eases off a bit on that. I think you are respawned with all your ammo, or you can just buy all your ammo at once instead of having to do it through each individual weapon, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
And also as a presentational thing, yeah, because also there were some other like mini games cut. There was Giant Clank in the original.
Yes.
Clank would just turn into a massive robot. I don't think that was in the PS4 one at all.
Oh, bummer.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I don't know. I have this weird memory where I think it's in the PS4 one, and I realize it's not. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that up. Giant Clank PS4. Because
I remember
it's
it being.
It's not. I don't think it is.
Oh,
No.
bummer.
The thing is, it wasn't particularly great gameplay-wise, but it was sort of fun. You know, this tiny little robot just swoops up into this giant, like, destruction machine. It's great, honestly. And later PS2 ones, they really like went forward with it. There was like whole planets you could like fight on with other giant robots. It was like a giant kaiju fight almost.
Yeah, and that's in Ratchet Clank 3, I guess. Yeah, I think that was in 3.
I think it's 3 because Clank's become a celebrity and he's like I think shooting a movie or something.
Yeah, Secret Agent Clank.
Secret Agent.
Yeah.
Became its own PSP game. People
Yes.
regarded that as the worst. I played that and I thought this is fine because I mean I think after playing Q-Force, any other Ratchet game, even if it's mediocre, would be better.
Yeah,
That's why.
I played both the PSP games. They're fine.
I never finished them, but the fact that the PS2 version of those are really expensive by comparison. They're like £30 compared to the $250 you can find the PSP ones for.
Oh, I think that was only for Size
I mean,
Matters.
they're the same game.
I think the
Only
only
was on.
I think only Size Matters that got the PS2 port. Did Secret
Oh
Agent?
no, it is on PS2. It's just harder to find.
Secret Agent Clank?
Yeah, it is.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't realize either. It's like £30, and yeah, it's relatively expensive for what it is.
Huh. Have you played?
Yeah. No. The funny thing is, have I played? Sorry.
Have you played the PS2 versions?
I briefly had Size Matters on PS2. It does not fit the system.
How so?
As in, they added a camera control, but that was about it really. It feels slightly better as a portable game. But yeah, no, related to the gameplay, Clank actually had his own puzzle levels where you got the guide mini robots. I mean, they're fine. They're like a distraction.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think of those? If you tried them?
I think they were fine.
Yeah, they're just sort of there. It's nice to give Clank his own gameplay. Apparently there's like only about 2 levels with him, which it doesn't feel that way. But I think if I played it now, I'd know. I mean, because I was watching someone do a retrospect on him, like, oh yeah, really? There's that little Clank gameplay? What's funny is in the PS4 game, they kept in most of those, like, they kind of, updated the mobility Clank would have, because Clank in the first game could barely jump very high. Because he could still hover, but he was slow. But in the PS4 one, they mix in puzzles with the robots with an expanded moveset, because there are robots you can jump on, others that I think they act as bridges, which I think they pulled from the later PS2 ones, and they mix them in with chase levels with Sylvester Stallone robot.
Oh yeah, I've heard of Sylvester.
Yeah, Sylvester Stallone's in Ratchet and Clank.
I think he
Yeah,
is.
and you ever watched a Stallone movie? I mean, most people probably have, but I saw Spike 3 first.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was him until years later.
Yeah, I think he gets top billing. Well, he got top billing.
Oh my god, that's something I want to mention. The main PS2 voice actors, because this was something I was going to bring up later, but I mean, since it's on topic now, the main PS2 voice actors. Okay, so Ratchet was not the same guy in the first game as he is now.
Yes.
Because it was James Arnold later on. I don't remember the name of the first guy, sadly. But okay, so you have Stallone added, you have John Goodman added as Ratchet's father. Okay, so but the worst one was Drek, because they completely replaced his voice actor with Paul Giamatti, who I only know from Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh.
The original voice actor was Kevin Michael Richardson, I recognized his voice as Gantu from Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, they changed the voice actor for Chairman
What
Drek.
What was really sad with that was that I think according to IMDb, I was looking at trivia, they mentioned that they accidentally sent the voiceover check to Kevin Michael's house by accident instead of Paul Giamatti.
No way.
I'm just thinking, how awkward was that conversation?
Yikes.
Wow. Yo, but I got your check here.
It's just like, how the hell does that happen? It's like, I feel bad for Kevin because he did a good job, because he gave this this dry presentation, because his first introduction with the planet, destroying thing is a TV broadcast to everyone saying, hey, I'm gonna take bits of your planet, we'll spin out control, fall into the sun, we'll explode into a flaming ball of gas, but sacrifices must be made. And the commercial cuts, and then he just has a rant at everyone, saying that they can kiss his ass, essentially.
Yes.
That's not in the PS4 one.
I
didn't. And they gave him pupils.
Yeah, that's the biggest gripe with what I got with the movie.
Look more cute. Chairman Drek is not cute. He's supposed to be, a villainous businessman with glowing soulless eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
Small in stature, but big on menace. And the funny thing is, he's not even like the main villain in the movie. He is, but they kind of push him aside for Doc Nefarious. Now, okay, what do you both know about Doc Nefarious?
I know he's the antagonist he became the recruiting antagonist in Ratchet Clank since the third game, Up Your Arsenal.
Yeah. And he's
third. Oh no, wait! I thought I was introduced in the second one. So yeah, again, I don't know much about him other than he's a antagonist.
Yeah, he first appeared in Up Your Arsenal, and then he returned briefly in what is it called? At the end of what's it called? Something booty.
Gladiator. Oh, Quest for Booty. Yeah, he also made a small cameo in
Quest for Booty. Yes,
and Gladiator.
Yeah. It was a quick cameo in both of these games.
Yeah.
And then he appeared. And then he was the main antagonist in A Crack in Time. And then he became a playable character in what's it called again? All for One.
That was the weirdest appearance. I was like,
okay, no, sorry. Anyway, yeah. It's very interesting because I didn't grow up with Sony at all, and my biggest regret is not playing Ratchet in Clank, because I had a friend who had a PS2. I was also the GameCube kid, and one of their games I remember actually being able to at least try was the first Ratchet Clank game. And I was super into it.
Yeah.
It just, there was something about it. There's something about the world and the characters and the humor that just really gravitated to me.
Oh man, the humor. Actually, that kind of leads me on to the fact that, okay, on top of modernizing the gameplay, they try to modernize a lot of the jokes, and some of them just do not work. They try to be really hip in the PS4 one. They make like a hashtag joke.
Oh no.
What the fuck is that doing here?
I know in the film they make a Wilhelm joke, but that's the only time I actually laughed in the film.
And the little PlayStation noise that they play, that was sort of amusing. Just to hear that glorious PlayStation startup noise in a cinema was really surreal. Because that's when I think they. But yeah, it's just weird at the same time, because it's this is a PS2 game, not actually. It would have actually made more sense to use the PlayStation 2 noise.
Yeah, but then there's always a risk that it will end up playing the ominous version where everything's red.
Oh no.
The what? The ominous version?
Yeah, when you put in a test that it can't play.
Yeah, the scary one. That'll
scary freaking. Oh God, what did I do?
But yeah, no, the humor is. The humor is. It kind of takes. Okay, it's not all unfunny. There are some funny bits, but like in terms of like the weird way the game is presented, because I mentioned Nefarious. I haven't even mentioned Captain Quark yet.
No, you didn't mention Captain Quark.
Yeah.
No, Captain Quark is another recurring character, and he's a funny guy.
Yes.
Funny, but like in the first game, he's an asshole. Like I'm kind of spoiling rotten here, but like basically, you're seeking him out the entire game, and you find out he's working for Drek the whole time. And it's just like Ratchet feels betrayed. That's why he's so pissed off, and it works great. Here, Quark is already a good guy, but then through like a really weird during the climax even, Drek suddenly just hires him, and it makes no fucking sense, or at least barely any. But what's funny is that they actually omit that scene from the PS4 game, but they leave it in the movie.
Weird.
So in a way, it's a slight improvement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's supposed to be like this bumbling buffoon, and in the first game, he's kind of got like, because honestly, he can be kind of creepy at times. He's like this weird, big chinned. He's like the Crimson Chin, but green.
That's what I've always like when I looked at him. That's what was my first thought too. It was just like, it's Crimson Chin.
I thought Quark was a type of green as well. I could be wrong. I know Quark is like something space related.
Yeah, I think
actually, Quark. I was like,
it's Quark.
I know it's a different tomato.
Whatever.
But yeah, no, basically what's weird with the PS4 one is the story is told from Quark's perspective from jail. So it already reveals that he's gonna be arrested. And as like he kind of acts like an unreliable narrator, because I've seen people say that it's possibly implying the PS2 game still happened, but this is just Quark's take on it. I don't really see that.
No, I can see that if the story actually leaned more into that.
Yeah, like if you were gonna do the unreliable narrator thing, do like a Conquer, where like certain things happen and then maybe you can undo them, and then although that would probably like fuck it around too much and then sort of make things even more confusing. So
well, then because it could also explain why there was less planets, because Quark wasn't just.
The thing is, no, it's explaining Quark wasn't present.
So like it actually would have really been great. You know what would have been funny, missed opportunity, is for Clank just to have like you beat a planet, you go to the next story section, and he has like 2 weapons just there. Quark doesn't understand how he got those. They got them off screen. Yeah.
Like honestly, if they did more with that, I like Quark as a narrator, but it's just sort of weird. In fact, my brother, when he tried to play it, he couldn't stand the constant dialogue. So he just didn't play it more than like I think the first couple levels, which is a shame because gameplay quality wise, that's just where it excelled, and then presentation wise, yeah. But no, the funny thing is, one of the major missing planets was like a really interesting one where it's Ratchet on his own. Well, there's 2 actually. There's one where Clank is on his own, but Ratchet can't go on it because it's been poisoned, and it's Drek's home planet.
Yes.
So basically, Drek has fucked up the ecosystem so much that it's poisonous to organic matter.
Yeah.
And it's like, so like basically Clank has to kind of, navigate this area, and then you get like an aqua helmet, and then you can go back and breathe the air finally. I don't think that's in the PS4 one either.
Oh.
No, it's not.
No. And it's like, really interesting because it kind of shows, Drek fucked it up for his own people as well, and it's it's great. It's not great for the people on the planet, but it's just, as from a storytelling perspective, environmental storytelling. And also the other one was one where you can only play as. There's no chance for Clank to go on this planet because it's a planet where there's constant rain and thunder, and it's so volatile that Clank just gets immediately zapped by a bolt of lightning, and he has to stay. And it's one of the most challenging planets because you can't do like long jumps, you can't hover.
Yes.
And it's just like zero presence in the PS4 one. It's like, why? Like, honestly, for me and my brother, that was one of the most memorable planets, because I think that was where you would honestly fail the most, unless you knew exactly what you're doing, because you had to rely on the Magna boots, where you couldn't jump, whereas in later games you could jump with them, so they eased up on that a bit.
Yes, because in the first game it was supposed to be a prototype, so yeah, that's why you can't jump. You can barely move.
Honestly, like you just kind of stick to the floor and go. I just thought that touch. It's a nice touch, and also, I mean, it kind of added to the backtracking as well, because then you could find little magnetic panels to run across, which you couldn't before.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Like, it's mainly to find secret gold bolts, which do unlock like a museum. Which it's cool in both games to see like the concept art, because
that's what I love. Yeah, that's what I love about the Ratchet & Clank games. Collect enough bolts and collect enough golden bolts or whatever, you can unlock what is called the Insomniac Museum, where they show concept arts, cut enemies, prototypes, stuff like that. I especially love the cut content.
Yeah, but it was actually one of the first games to introduce New Game Plus to me, which is honestly a great concept. More games, there's surprisingly some games that still don't implement it, like Yakuza does, although apparently Like a Dragon made it DLC.
Yeah, I heard of that.
It sucks. I'm just like, what? And there's others that look like they should do New Game Plus, but they don't, or they got it added later on, like Deus Ex Human Revolution. The original game didn't have New Game Plus, but the re-release did. So it's a concept that needs to be adapted more, and I'm surprised there's games that still don't do it. But I don't know if it was the first to do New Game Plus, but I'm pretty sure it was one of the first I knew of, unless there's one older on like another system. Like, do you know of any that did New Game Plus at all?
Well, aside from Ratchet and Clank, let's see. You said you had Ratchet and Clank, Yakuza. There's nothing.
Because I literally can't do anything older. Anyway, I won't dwell on this.
Yeah, it's mostly 6th and 7th gen that many of these games introduced New Game Plus.
I mean, you mentioned cut content that wasn't in the game, even the original.
Yeah.
Sorry. Now I miss a lot of the side characters they just cut out. Like, if you've ever played the PS2 one of the first incredibly funny jokes they did was an obstacle course you have to finish. There's like a boisterous big lady robot called Helga who shows up at the end just to berate you. She's completely gone from the obstacle course. She's like, "Listen up, you meatballs! That was the most pathetic display I ever saw," in a thick German accent. It was hysterical as like a 14, 15-year-old, I think. I don't know how old I was when I first played it.
Yeah.
Younger than 15, probably 13.
It's definitely like Ratchet and Clank is definitely what I would describe to be like the perfect teenager game. When you're in that age, this is the game you want to play. It just hits everything.
Yeah, in fact, actually, what's funny, like, speaking of being a sort of a game for teens, actually, the funniest thing presentational-wise is even carried over to the back of the box, where his introduction is a wanted poster. Like, Ratchet, like, if you look at the back of the European box, like, Ratchet is just wanted on it, and it just says, "Beware of the chaos," and it's like, this little cat creature, what's he gonna do? Oh shit, like, he's got a bajillion guns, run.
Oh crap, he's back in heat.
Oh no.
Actually, no, I say Helga was also another cut. Well, not in terms of a cut character, but an altered character. The plumber.
Oh, the plumber is like a recruiting character.
No, he's in the game.
Oh, okay.
He's in the game. But they for some reason they give him glasses. And the line that introduced, because the thing is, the plumber's supposed to be like rude. He's not rude. He's actually too friendly in this. Like, it doesn't feel like the same guy.
Oh.
Basically, he's like Ratchet just says plumber's crack when he first meets him, and he said, "What did you just say?" And the joke recurs later, and it's great when he like meets him again on another planet.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, they don't mention the plumber's crack or him sliding down a sewer pipe And it's like, why would you take that line out? It was the funniest thing about that character, and they just trimmed it around. Yeah, and just oh yeah, they made the movie and the PS4 game more of a team effort instead of just Ratchet and Clank, being sort of, on their own with the occasional help of an NPC who wants to, essentially make money. Like, you get like 2 generic female ladies and some big alien guy as Quark's team.
Yeah,
remember them? Those memorable characters.
I think I've seen them in the trailers. They're like I think they're called the Q-Force?
I think they are, yes. I think they're called the Q-Force, in this movie thing.
Yeah,
but
no, wasn't that added? Yeah, that was added, right?
That was added, yeah. There was no team element because the whole point of the movie was, Ratchet wants to become a member of the Q-Force, and it's like, okay, but that wasn't in the original. I mean, I understand changing something, but it's just it's a slightly weird hook as well, because but no, what was bizarre about it was there's this like one. Okay, this goes back to the obstacle course as well. So there's this lady who's like implied to be like she could be like the next Nefarious. They said like, oh look, because Quark's mistreating and not really treating anyone well, she might become villainous next. And like I was thinking, okay, is that going to lead to a twist or something? Nope.
Oh,
they don't really go anywhere with that. I don't know if I was the only one who saw that, because they have like pictures Nefarious being an old member of the Q-Force.
Really?
Yeah, like they kind of just brush over it. The funny thing is, Nefarious himself, I mean, going back to that, in Game 3, he's supposed to be like a pale-skinned human alien still with pointy ears, but here they gave him like a more traditional green alien look before he becomes a robot.
And I think he was also a classmate of Quark in the third game.
And the funny thing is, you only found out that info if you looked up an old vid comic you could play.
Yes.
I mean, that was in Game 1, but that was a pretty funny introduction. Like, you could just play as a tiny little Quark in the third game. Anyway. I'm hopping around to different things again, but yeah. So, okay, like the game itself still feels like the level transitions end up being very strange because when you flew around from planet to planet in the PS2 game, the flying was to mask the loading. Here, they just cut to a traditional loading screen.
Ah, that's lame.
Yeah, it's really lame, and also it makes streaming and also all the use of movie footage makes the whole thing like you can't stream it properly on a PS4 because it will block the movie footage constantly.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's a thing the PS4 has.
Yeah, and I tried to stream the game, and it's just I had to keep describing what the fuck was going on. It's just like, no, you can't do it.
The funny thing is, whenever I think about that, I just think of Sonic Forces, where literally every single cutscene you couldn't stream.
Yeah, that was stupid.
For some reason.
Yeah, no, and also, what's weird is that, okay, so one level, the city level, you fly in with a ship in a ship battle to like use like a magnet gadget to like take down some ships and then save everyone, and then like they say, hey, look, Ratchet, we can use him as he can be part of the Q-Force now. But to delay the next movie scene from happening, just at the base, a random goon shows up out of nowhere and sneaks behind Ratchet's ship, plants a bomb on it, and it literally like plummets him into the next level, as in the level start of the city level. So if that goon didn't show up, the city level wouldn't happen.
Oh.
Whereas in the original game, he just shows up at the planet. Whereas when they have to lead it in with an action scene, they have to like have a reason for Ratchet to stick around on the planet. And then with the training course before that, while Ratchet is outside a place in gameplay, he has to traverse an obstacle course. But of course, Clank is needed. But he's talking to a background character in the movie footage. So of course they shut the door and leave Clank and her to talk because they're both knowledgeable. Actually, no, So what happens is Ratchet is outside talking to someone else, I think. And then you see Clank run in the background towards Ratchet with no acknowledgement of him being there. And then it's also Clank, it's just so Clank can appear on Ratchet's back for him to be used. It's really clumsy. I'm probably explaining this terribly. But
No, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, they had to write around the movie footage. I don't know which one came first, but it's just so awkward.
I'm pretty sure it was more like whatever the movie is, you follow that more strictly than like as much as possible.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks. But yeah,
Strange.
I guess like my question would be just overall, how would you rate the game if you had to rate it?
Oh my god! I mean, I've gone on long enough about this. I don't know how long I've been rambling about this damn game.
Yeah, it's been an hour.
Okay. My god, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew I wrote a lot, but for fuck's sake, I think I can probably wrap it up here.
If you
because,
had to put an arbitrary number, what would you give it?
Yeah.
okay, like out of 5.
Yes.
Yeah, sure, out of 5.
Let's go out of
Okay,
5.
as a game, I'd still give it like I'd still give it a 4 with like 3 asterisks. I think because basically the gameplay is the good thing, but the presentation is where things are a bit iffy. So yeah, like
And
the rest of
story
the
is just the
looks
worst version of the first game.
Yes,
So at which
but
point just play the first
plays
game.
better than the first game. It's just missing that little spark that makes it special, and it really makes me wish that they'd at least release them on PS4.
Yeah, they should
Because
do.
there's the HD collection on PS3. Officially, yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, the originals, both PS3, both PS2, PS3. Just because with Rift Apart coming out,
Yes.
it would make the most sense to just re-release because we have Jak and Daxter on the PS4.
Yes.
Oh, which
Oh,
is just
yeah,
not-
yeah. Then that's weird. We don't have Ratchet Clank.
Yeah, we don't have
Really
Ratchet Clank.
weird.
We don't have Sly. We only have Sly 4 on PlayStation Now, which I can't use because my internet's shit.
Damn.
Yeah, no, I
feel
can't
like
stream games. I can stream in video just fine, but it's just like no. Anyway, no, the it's so dumb. Anyway, I think I've kind of gone through all of my notes because if I went on any longer, I mean, I've likely forgotten something, but I've since I've got like an hour. Okay, last note.
Yeah.
Hotel Mario voice is in this game.
Really? Is it?
No way.
Zircon.
Oh yeah, Mr. Zircon. Yeah, I read that before.
Oh,
Hotel
no
Mario.
way.
He's the voice of
Yes.
Mario from
And actually,
Hotel Mario.
yeah, that was surreal to find out. What was funny was that with the and also in terms of like actually meeting a voice from the game, I did meet James Arnold Taylor and he signed my copy of Crack in Time. Cool guy, and
No
I'm
way.
surprised
Cool.
he still does the other one.
Cool. He's also the voice. He's also the voice of what's it called? Titus from Final Fantasy X.
And he did the laugh in person.
Oh God.
I actually have a recording of him on stage. I don't think he does the laugh because he did it beforehand. I need to upload. It was from MCM in like 2018, I think. But yeah, even he wishes the movie did better. So that was. So even he was like, basically he's still happy to like do the games and at least they know with the not so good reception of the movie but the positive reception of the game, they're just going to continue doing games and such. I mean, they even made like a whole movie.
I think it's safer. It's safer to just do the games. To be fair.
And I'm happy it's not because while a remake of 2 would have been great, I feel like just make a new game, and I'm glad that's the direction they went. And we still don't know that female Lombax's name.
Yeah, we're still waiting on that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
I
gonna.
mean, if she
I wasn't
apparently
sure if it was going to be a female Lombax. So I remember there being a lot of debate about whether or not, but I think it was confirmed by the developers.
Yeah.
I've heard
at
people
some
say the name is probably going to be Mallet or something. I mean, that makes sense. Ratchet.
That would be really fun.
Yeah.
Really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No matter what it ends up being, I'll get it, and I'll get it probably sometime after it comes out with a PS5 because I'm not gonna get a PS5 now. Too damn expensive.
Yeah, same here.
And impossible to find.
Yeah. I'm not buying one from a scalper for like $1,000 or anything.
Yeah, screw that.
Jeez. That's real though. You're not joking. That's the sad part.
That's the sad part. Yeah. No, I mean, and even then, the game is probably going to be something like £60 or £70.
Oh,
Yeah. I've seen some developers justify the price hike. I think it's bullshit, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm sure Ratchet will be worth its price. Absolutely. I just don't see myself paying that much.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just one of those things where like. Anyway, we go on like a big thing about that, but yeah. Anyway,
yeah, Yeah, I think we should move on to Ethan.
Should we stop the recording here?
Oh no!
Recording here, so we break it up. Make sure my. Sorry.
Yeah. What is it?
I was gonna say, should we like? I mean, we'll resume, but should we stop the recording here because it has been in like an hour, and then re-record, not re-record. Resume recording for the next bit so we can just splice them together, or is that how we're gonna do it? Or
oh no, it's okay. We can still go on. Okay,
because
so
I have no idea how big
yeah.
like an hour long recording is. Anyway, yeah.
No, it's okay.
Let's go.
So moving on to that was Otis's pick, Ratchet 2016, Ratchet Clank 2016. So that was his thoughts, and yeah, let's move on to Ethan's picks. What you got for us, Ethan?
All right, so first one, or at least the one that I want to talk about, probably the most, since it fits with this theme of Backlog, is Resident Evil 7. You know, funny enough, I think the last time I was on here, I talked about Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, the remake.
So yeah, well, the remake anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I need to play that one. We go both 2 and 3, but I've heard good things. I still want to buy it, and not buy it, play it. We already own it.
Yeah, I really loved remake 2, but I actually might like 7 more, which was really surprising. Resident Evil 7 is a game that decides to not be exactly a Resident Evil game at first. Like, it is not what you would expect. I think even now, and even back then, I remember it being very monumental for everything's gonna be like first person. They're taking cues from games like Outlast with how kind of vulnerable you can be, except unlike those games, you actually do wield weapons. You actually have to fight, and you can fight if you want to, and it's satisfying. There are actual bosses in this game that all range from either, yeah, okay, that was kind of cool, to, oh wow, this is really amazing and kind of cinematic.
Yeah, because the what was the thing about 7? I haven't finished many REs. That was one of the, I mean, aside from 4, that was one of the only ones I finished. It's because it's
good,
so compelling, and like, actually, it wasn't. I mean, some people actually speculated that there was some like PT influence, possibly.
Yeah, I personally don't see it that much, but I definitely could. I mean,
first person aspect and it being a horror game.
Mm-hmm.
The only 2 comparisons, really, but
I think it's definitely taking cues from that. And at the time, that was like the mainstream thing for horror games. Even now, that is kind of, if you are playing a horror game, 9 times out of 10, if it's a modern one, it will be in first person. That's just how it's been.
Yeah, you can think
it's like the standard one.
You can think Amnesia and Slender Man for that.
Amnesia, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, Amnesia, I think, was really the one that popularized that.
Yeah.
Which I have not played yet, so it's on my list.
And they made a 3rd one or a remake. I don't.
Yeah,
know.
they made like a new one recently, and I totally forgot about it. So
that probably speaks volumes.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
yeah.
Resident Evil 7, I have to say though, if there is one thing that I think it does a lot better than other Resident Evil games, is actually have not only really good really good presentation just overall, but I actually think the characters are a lot better, like, and more sincere. I think that's the thing. It's not because like I love Resident Evil 4 a lot. It's still my personal favorite, but that's because I can kind of laugh at it and it's pretty ridiculous, and the voice acting isn't like the best, but it has that charm that's good. And 7, it's like, no, these are actual really good performances that I generally love.
I mean, yeah, mentioning performances, you can't go without mentioning RE7 without mentioning Jack.
Yeah, Jack Baker. Oh man, I freaking love Jack Baker.
I see you. I don't know, how that goes. The thing is, like knowing it was like set in the middle of nowhere and in the bayou essentially, I think sort of area. I was like, how are they going to make this scary? And they do.
Oh, they do. It's a very scary game up until I would say maybe the last third, but that kind of just plays in because you start to understand what the heck is going on, and even then there's a different type of fear when you get to like the end stuff.
Oh yeah. I still enjoyed it, even though I in retrospect I do notice that weird turn, but it's just
right when you leave the house. Like I say, it's right when you leave the house is when the horror stuff really doesn't affect you as much. And
yeah. But I still wanted to see it through. Like I didn't just want to stop. It's not, it wasn't like a downturn for me. But yeah, I understand. It's like it is a weird one.
I do understand because like that there might be some criticism with like, oh well, you actually get to kind of know everything, like how everything sort of happened. But I think it's fine with the way that they were able to present it. It's also interesting how this game ended up keeping the, I guess, Resident Evil at least newer Resident Evil standard of we're gonna switch the main, like the player character for a certain section, because 7 does that too.
Yeah, because I keep forgetting other REs do that. Because I only know 2 for osmosis, because I'm terrible at tank controls. Like even the remake of the first game, I'm just like, what are these controls?
Oh yeah, I know it takes some getting used to. I'm at the mindset where like I view tank controls as pretty archaic by today's standards. Not that you can't get used to them, but it's it's not like something everyone can just adjust to.
Yeah. I mean, I can still play an occasional PS1 game with a D-pad. If it offers analog, I'm likely going to pick it. In fact, actually, that's what the Origins collection did. They added in analog.
Oh yeah.
But it was while I appreciated that, I was still having a hell of a hard time with the puzzles. Where RE7 still has sort of cryptic puzzles, but like they work somehow. I didn't have to look up a guide. They're not like super ridiculous. I need to kind of look up to see, did I miss something in a room sort of situation. It's a lot more streamlined. Kind of reminds me of Resident Evil 4's, where like all the puzzles are pretty streamlined. Yeah, that's a good advantage of it, because it's the fact that it's like, how could this work in first person? Then you look at other horror games and it's like, oh yeah, those have puzzles too. But then here it just feels more on brand to have the weird devices in a mansion, and it's like, yeah, I can see how this works. And honestly,
or even the shadow ones where you gotta like pick up a weird object but then manipulate it so it looks like a certain thing.
Oh yeah,
the shadow looks like something.
Yeah. No, I appreciate the the change ups and like it's just funny. It makes me wonder who built this stuff. I mean, I think they have an explanation.
Yeah, there's like in the files and such, there's an explanation that it's by the same people that did make the Spencer Mansion.
Oh right, that's the tie-in.
Yeah. So there's your tie-in. I don't know how much that like actually means, but yeah. Still though, I find it very funny that even though they're on a bayou, there's a basement, and like, how is that possible?
oh yeah, you're right. Maybe that explains the mold monsters, or like how they became. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, because speaking of like, okay, how the game like, I'm guessing both of you saw the initial trailer that showed off the game. Like it was really cryptic, and then when the title dropped, it's like, wait, this is Resident Evil? What?
Yeah.
That was my reaction.
And they did it again with RE2.
What do you mean 8?
Trailer, as I call it, or probably they call it.
You know,
No, I don't remember the trailer for 2 remake. But they definitely did the same trick for Resident Evil 8's trailer.
Village.
I didn't know that was Resident Evil.
Village, yes, there were rumblings of it, but I didn't know. I was like, oh yeah, because VII Village, yeah.
Yeah, the Roman numerals.
Actually, that plays into the title as well, where like in Japan the title is switched around.
Oh yeah.
It's Biohazard Resident Evil, and this is Resident Evil Biohazard.
Cool.
So, yeah.
You know, just like what they did with the Yakuza Like a Dragon. Because the series in Japan is known as Ryugo Kotoko, which means like a dragon.
Yeah. So what's the 7th one actually known as in Japan then? Makes you wonder, because is it the Yakuza Like a Dragon again?
No, I think it's Like a Dragon something something something. They go with long subtitles.
It's a very long title.
Yeah.
Yeah. With 7 actually, the funny thing is, okay, because I don't get games new, I'll often, you know, like most people, get the demo. Did either of you play the demo before the full game?
No, I actually did not play the demo like at all.
What was interesting with that one is, okay, I kept it on my hard drive, much like PT. I mean, unlike Konami, I guess you can still play it and find it.
You
on
got
PlayStation.
You got PT?
Oh no, I don't.
Oh,
I got to play it though on a PS4. No, I wish. No, honestly, I was a year late. But so I thought, well, RE7 is the next closest thing in terms of a demo.
Yeah.
Because that game focused, you didn't even have access to guns in that demo.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just, if I remember correctly, it's basically the beginning section, just without the fight at the end of that section.
Yes. Yeah, it focuses more on like the spooky aspect, and it's like they did a cryptic update where they added like a new area where you first saw like a mold monster, and honestly, that was actually fucking terrifying.
Yeah, there's a lot of genuine terrifying thing, or at least moments from Resident Evil 7, and I will applaud 7 for not relying on jump scares for like its scares. A lot of the time, like you could say that, oh, Baker, the Baker family just kind of popping up, but most of the time whenever they pop up, it's just like you kind of enter into a room, you kind of look around, and then you see one of them slowly approaching. Like that's enough to be like, oh, dang it. So like,
because I swear I spent most of the game crouched and like kind of hiding around corners. And I wasn't even playing this in VR because I don't have a headset.
God, man, that's the one thing I'd love to experience this game in VR.
I'm at least glad that
horrifying.
Having the PS4 version, at least that means potentially if I got a headset, I could at least play it with the same save data.
Yeah, I
So
think
that's something that this game also carries over too. There is a lot of, like, for all intents purposes, the beginning of this game, if you're like a longtime Resident Evil fan, it will not feel like Resident Evil. At the beginning of this game, totally does not. But over time, you start to get those kind of mainstays, the unlockable weapons that you can get from doing certain challenges, or after beating the game, you get like different weapons, and there is like the unlockable Magnum, which sucks in this game. Don't get it. It's the worst Magnum ever, because not only do you have to wait until literally end game to get it, there's hardly any ammo. So what's the point?
I'm at least glad the game doesn't have ink ribbons, at least not on the difficulty I played.
No, I don't think there's I don't think Madhouse's difficulty there is limited saves.
Oh,
I don't think there is limited saves.
In any game that allows a constant stream of saving, I will often take that advantage.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, it's insurance, essentially.
Yeah. but overall, I'll just say I would actually go a little bit more into the plot of this game. But if you have not played it, I think it's best to go in as blind as possible. Even though it is a pretty predictable plot, especially if you played Resident Evil games, there's gonna be some sort of biohazard thing, and you're not gonna really know what's gonna go on, but you know it's always some chemical weapon hoo-ha, and you got to figure out how to stop it. Yeah, that's pretty much in the game. But the way the plot develops, and when you meet certain characters like Zoe, oh my god, I freaking love her. She's like one of my favorite characters. And it's sad that the canon option is you gotta leave her there.
Really?
Yeah, I can't remember which one did.
Yeah, that's the canon option. Now, there's a reason why. And that ties into the DLC, but I'll talk about the DLC later.
Oh yeah, the gold edition, as I got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with that version, you get all the DLC, which is basically how I recommend it, because the DLC is kind of worth it in this game.
Did you get it physical or digital?
I got it digital.
Because the gold edition is great, but the only DLC that's not on the disc is the Chris DLC.
Oh well, that one's free anyway, so
it's free. Yeah, at least there's that. But it's just like, really, you could fit all this stuff on. Again, I don't know the capacity of a Blu-ray. I mean, I forgot to mention. I think I mentioned the Spyro thing earlier, where it's like, you know, they re-released it, but secretly, and then included everything.
Yeah, you mentioned
so
that.
You kind of have to like.
Before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's annoying. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, you mentioned that with the episode we did together.
Like, look at. Yeah, but either way, and actually, this game's on Switch in Japan.
Really?
Stream.
As
in, not a physical cartridge. They obviously probably couldn't fit any of it. Or not even a download.
Yeah. Because like, Control is also on the Switch, but it's you streamed it. You have to stream it.
Controller's on the Switch? Okay, I'm just as surprised.
Yeah, but it's one of those you stream the game.
Yeah, thing. I think the same. I think Doom Eternal would be like that also.
Oh yeah, that's download only.
No. Doom Eternal won't actually.
Really?
That one will actually have like a proper release.
19 gigabytes.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, like if they did that with RE7, I mean, I don't know how big the file sizes be, but yeah, the fact it's Japan only and stream, because someone from I think the US tested it, and they couldn't get past the initial introduction. I think where you just walk.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Anyway.
But yeah,
the DLC.
I think honestly, I've almost said everything I want to say about Resident Evil 7 without really spoiling it too much. I do wish Ethan, the main character, kudos for having the same name as me. That's great. But also, like, I kind of wish he had a little bit more personality, just a little bit more.
I don't think you even see it.
No, okay. He has a face. He actually does have a face, but in game, you technically never see it. And I believe like the actual model of like what his face is supposed to look like, which is just a generic white American dude with blonde hair, literally. Like I think that was after 7. Like there was like a model of him, but during when 7 was released, literally his face is like a black void.
Yeah, because I wouldn't say anything more about that, but yeah.
But there is an actual model of like his entire body except the face.
Huh.
Well, that's a bit. At least that's a mystery. What does your protagonist's face look like? I mean, I know horror games, games in general, they'll do that thing where they try to hide reflections of people's faces as much as possible.
Yeah, unless it's like an already defined character, in which case we can do that.
Do it in Duke Nukem, however much they want, but then Mafia 3.
That's totally different reason.
The Mafia 3 mirrors.
Oh yeah.
One house. They just twist everything. They're like a changing image that comes in like late. As in, something will happen and then like a second later, like it's like an after image. It's really weird. It's actually spookier Actually, if RE7 did that, that'd be terrifying. But then again, it's not really psychological horror. It's more like actual, just weird things going on. I mean, actually, oh yeah, the other family members, because we mentioned Jack.
Yes.
I mean, of course, we won't go too much into them.
I mentioned Jack, who's great. Zoe, the other one, she's also really great. The mother is a great boss, and that's pretty much it.
She has a waxy face up close.
Yeah,
Which
and
probably...
she's bees for some reason. I don't know, but the boss fight with her is like, I think, one of the highlights of the game for sure.
And the tech guy.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of
the asshole.
Is really intriguing because it's like it's like full of gadgets and such, and it's like okay, this is sort of interesting. Change up.
The DLC, well, Chris's DLC goes into his whole deal and how he actually wasn't part of the Baker family originally, and the whole thing with experiments, which I won't get into for spoiler reasons, but yeah, he's just an asshole. That's pretty much it. That's all you need to know.
It was really, I mean, actually the weirdest DLC for me was the was it End of Zoe? I can't remember. I don't.
Yeah, that's the other piece of DLC that I think there's only two pieces of DLC that we really need to talk about.
And then like
with the other ones being mainly like challenges, challenge mode, or like a horde mode here and
Must
there.
Die. Well, is another one, which I tried and there was. I can't do this. There's like another one where you're just stuck in like a bed, and I couldn't figure out what the hell to do. Like you have to like hide things from the sinister lady, and it's like, oh wait, what do I do here?
Oh yeah,
Like
I heard that one's really terrible. I know I didn't play any of those. It just wasn't interesting to me.
Stick with the main stuff, and it's yeah.
Stick with the main stuff. So that's all I'll say about like the main game. I think it's really great. I like it more than Remake 2, not by like a lot, but just like I think overall, as an overall package, I like Resident Evil 7 more. But then there comes the DLC, and we got one which I consider to be not that great, but it's free, so whatever, you get what you get. And then you get one which I consider to be so insane that I love it. It's just perfect. Like, this is Resident Evil. If you just want like the craziness of Resident Evil, that DLC is good. But we'll talk about the free one first, which is Chris's DLC, where you play as not my Chris.
Oh yeah, I've heard the controversy.
Oh my God, they really, he had to say his name. I'm Chris Redfield for me to register that. Oh yeah, that's Chris. Okay. Cool. Because they totally changed up his model, and it's not like the change from before, where it's like you can kind of piece it together, like from.
He is buff. He was in 5.
No, he's not, and that's why he's not as buff. He doesn't even. He's slimmer, a little slimmer, and also his face shape is completely different.
Okay. The funny thing is, I actually bought 5 again recently on the PS3, because it comes with RE4 style move controls.
Yeah.
RE4 style. Yeah, so you could just play. So it's like you're playing RE4 Wii, but on the PS3 with RE5.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and I'm sad that the PS4 version doesn't have that. Apparently, I mean, it has pointed controls on the Switch, but 4 doesn't.
Oh yeah, that's really weird to me. Why doesn't 4 have that on the Switch?
4 is best with pointer controls. I mean, it's playable with a controller. But anyway, DLC.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Chris DLC decides to take out the horror aspect and put in more action. You have guns. There are like a lot of guns, a lot of weapons. I want to say it's non-stop action, but it's definitely, the game wants you to just, if you see any one of the molded, which is what they're called, then you just shoot them, because that's just how it is.
I remember liking it, but yeah, it's definitely like from the outset. They even give you a different HUD.
Yeah, they do.
So I thought, okay, it's clearly more, clearly more gearing towards that.
It's not that long. I think I beat it in like an hour 30, maybe, and that was me like checking everything because I was like, this looks pretty short. I guess I'll try and see if I can get 100% it. And as a free piece of DLC, the best thing it does is kind of conclude things from the techie guide, because he kind of just stopped showing up in terms of the plot like in the original game.
I didn't notice that until now.
Yeah. So it actually concludes his story, and also I'm assuming sets up stuff for the 8th game, since Chris Chris seems to be a major part in that.
He wears a coat
well.
and's got grey hair. I don't know. That's all I know about 8.
Yeah, pretty much. But he's in the game and seems to be working with Ethan. So I'm like, okay, cool.
Okay.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Chris's.
Yeah.
And then for the last bit, End of Zoe, which is amazing, and I love it. Now, I do have to pay for it, but I think that's why I like it a lot. You don't play as Zoe, though. That's the thing. You play as Jack's brother. I forget his name. I forget Jack's brother's name. I want to say it was Joe, but I'm that's right.
Joe the Baker.
Yeah, whatever. You play as Jack Baker's brother, who was an army vet, and he kind of just stumbles upon the manor, if I remember correctly, and it's just like, what the heck happened here? And why is Umbrella? Because that's kind of the thing. Oh, why are you here? Why is Zoe like in the situation? And now it acts as an epilogue to the original story of 7. It kind of ties everything up pretty neatly. But the best part about it is the gameplay. You don't have guns. Guns are not a thing, but you don't need guns because you have your fists. You, in first person, punch the ever-loving shit out of all these molded, and it's the most hilarious thing ever.
Amazing.
I mean, it's great,
Yes.
honestly. Like,
There's even combos. There are combos you can do.
Devil May Evil.
Yeah, and it's like all in first person, and like there is like some bit of stealth, to be fair, because like you can craft certain like long range spears if you don't want to deal with enemies up and close. But honestly, yeah, the fact that you can just punch your way and destroy everything and don't have to worry about ammo consumption, it ends up being this weird mix of, this is a very actiony Resident Evil game, but like Resident Evil DLC, but also it still keeps that kind of horror atmosphere.
Yeah.
And it's also super ridiculous. Literally, the final boss right before it, you get an electric punch like a little like gauntlet that adds an electric punch for one of your arms, and it's like, okay, there you go.
Like it's both really stupid yet fits right in, and I'm super happy it's on the gold edition disc. Because, the Chris one, sure, it's not on there, but, at least it's free. This one, I'm glad is technically, you can get it physical. That's great.
And that is what I would consider the piece of DLC that is worth playing, because it is really good and ties everything together pretty neatly in my humble opinion, while just also being really fun. Like it's a blast. I was smiling so goddamn much when I was playing the game.
That final boss, though, because of the fist-based play, I was so used to guns by that point. But I eventually did it. It just took me a while.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, if I had to rate this game, I would give it a 4.5 stars out of 5. Is good. Go get it. Oh yeah, it is on Game Pass actually.
Oh nice. Yeah, I don't have an Xbox One, but yes, that sounds like a great deal.
And also PC Game Pass.
Oh yeah, I forget they keep splitting those up.
Yeah, so there you go.
So I guess that was everything you want to talk about Resident Evil 7?
Yes. I think I have said my piece on that. It's a really fun game, and I'm glad I got around to it this year.
Cool. Okay, that was Ethan's pick. So now it's time to move on finally to my pick. And I'm gonna go with the Zone of the Enders, the HD collection. This collection was released back in 2011 to celebrate the game's, the series' 10th anniversary. Was it 10th anniversary? Yes, 10th anniversary. Yes. It was released in 2011, published by Konami and developed by Kojima Productions. And it's a compilation of the first 2 games in the series. Which was released in 2001.
The only 2 games.
Technically 3, but we don't talk about Fist of Mars.
Yeah, no, that one doesn't exist. Only 2.
Yes, only 2. So the first game was released in 2001, and it's known as that free game that came with the PS2 demo of Metal Gear Solid 2. And when it was first released, and the second game was released in 2003. It was released in 2003, and this HD collection also came with the demo of the first demo of Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's kind of a weird instance of it, repeating itself because I used to own a PS3 copy, I don't now, and I really should rebuy the HD collection. I don't know why I got rid of it. I think I was in like an anti-HD collection phase because of the whole Silent Hill thing.
Oh yeah, I mean that's fair. Also, HD
Not all
collections
HD
at that time were pretty hit or miss.
Yeah, because even the Ratchet Clank PS3 collection, as like, it's fine, but like there are like weird aspect ratio things in there. I mean, the DMC one, that was okay.
Yeah.
The Splinter Cell, like Ubisoft ones though, which were kind of shit. They somehow a 3 gig install for like a 2001 Xbox game somehow made it run slower.
Yeah.
I'm surprised, and the version one had sound issues, but it was still at least playable.
Oh.
Okay.
But yeah, the Zone of the End one in retrospect, yeah,
Now,
fine.
it's funny. Okay, so it's very funny because like before, let's say a couple years ago, I would have said yes, HD collection, best way to play the game. However, we now have a better way to play the second game.
Yes.
Yeah, the weird one I thought was a VR game only.
Oh no,
It's not. There's a VR mode.
Yes.
I was so happy to find out I didn't need a VR set to play it, and I'm like, yes, I will actually seek this one out now.
Yeah, that was licensed by it was Konami licensed it to make for Cygames to work on it, and I think they did a pretty good job with this one. I only played the demo of the PS4 remaster, and I think it's great.
They had like 2 demos.
Was it 2 demos?
Yeah. Yeah, like they seem to be different demos for different regions. It's really weird.
That
need to
tends to happen.
Yeah. No, because mentioning demos again, you mentioned Metal Gear Solid 2 for the first one.
Yes.
My PS2 copy didn't come with that. I mean, I already owned the full game. I was just like, huh. And it didn't even have a sticker mentioning it on the front, so I guess maybe it was removed.
Maybe in later printings. I don't know.
Probably, yeah.
Probably.
The thing is, I've only played a little bit of each game. I've actually played more of Zoe 1 rather than Zoe 2. If I can say it like that, I don't know. That's all I say.
No.
Zoe.
Yeah, some people call it Zoe for short.
Yeah.
I just call it Zone.
Zone. Oh yeah, makes sense.
Zone in the understood zone.
Yeah.
But
So, yeah.
Oh no, sorry. No, all I was gonna say was, so I've played a bit of each for comparison, but not finished all of them. But I can already tell from like playing both, even on the PS2, that the second game just feels better to play.
Yes.
It's the superior game in every way.
Yeah, we'll talk about that now when we get there.
Yeah.
So, both games are set in story-wise. The universe is set in like the end of the 22nd century. It's set in space where a war going on between 2 factions of humanity. Earth government, which is represented by the Space Force, and the Enders, or the colonists of the space colonists, who are represented by Bahram, a force that is fighting the Space Force. So it's kind of like I think Gundam, if we could compare it to that series. I never watched the Gundam.
One of the mini robots.
It is very similar to what I consider classic Gundam, quote unquote. The whole space sort of stuff that you would expect. Zone the Enders is very, very much inspired by like the Gundam and mecha anime.
Yeah.
I only own one random DVD of Gundam, and I don't even know which one it is. It just says it's the uncut version. I'm like, well, there's like a bajillion different adaptations of Gundam. Which one is it?
Yeah, because Gundam is like a 40-year long series.
Yeah, it's
Well,
just
many
like,
different series and different. Yeah, it's a. I'm not the most knowledgeable on it, but I do know a bit of at least.
I know. Okay. So, like I said, it's set in the future where humanity conquers the moons of Jupiter and Mars, and the two factions of humanity, like that I mentioned, the Space Force and Bahram, are fighting over a material called Metatron, and Metatron happens to be what the Bahram forces used to create new types of giant robots called orbital frames. Now, in the first game, you play as a little kid in a colony called Antilia. The kid's name is Leo, and he stumbled upon a warehouse where it contains one of those orbital frames. And it's an orbital frame known as Djibouti, and he's one of two orbital frames that the Space Force and Bahram are trying to capture. And so you go on a quest to throw out the Antilia colony to see with the help of the AI, that's the battle AI of the orbital frame called Ada, was helping Leo to get to a spaceship that belongs to the Space Force who are trying to capture Djibouti. So the forces of Bahram doesn't get their hands on it. And there's also themes about war and killing and stuff like that, mortality.
War is hell.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, in the first game, there are like multiple instances where Ada trying to instruct Leo to kill an orbital frame pilot, but he refuses because he doesn't want to kill. And through time, she learns later, to accept Leo's wishes of not killing anyone, to be a little more pacifist, if we can say that. He only fights when he has to, or when it's an unmanned orbital frame. But if it's piloted by a human, he won't kill the pilot. So it's yeah. You played I think both of you played the first game, right?
I have beaten both games. The first game is incredibly short.
Yes.
It's like,
yes.
Wow. Fun fact. Fun fact. Okay. Back when I was streaming those games when I played it for the first time, I played the first game up until literally the final boss. I was like, it's been about like 4 hours. Sure, I'll save this for tomorrow. I didn't know I was at the final boss, and I immediately beat it in like 30 minutes.
Really?
Wow.
God damn.
Yes.
I don't know how far I am in,
Well,
but I'm probably in the same situation.
Yeah,
Like, I'll just come back
I was
and
not
just
expecting
beat
the first game to be that short. It is really short.
Yes, that's the problem with the first game.
Because
Besides the voice acting, which is
I haven't listened to a cutscene from the game in a while, so I'd have to actually remind myself how it sounded.
It's
Selvis. Is that you, Selvis? That is you, Selvis.
Please?
yeah.
So,
It's
yeah.
it's a bit janky. I think we can describe it.
Yeah, it's that early PS2 / like PS1 type of voice acting that like it has its charm.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. It's just poor direction, ending up in complete hilarity most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
This was like the 2000. Yeah, that sort of era was like that big push for like. It's like, wow, look what the PS2 can do. Because I have magazines from the time. I don't have a Zone of the Enders issue, but I do have a Jack and Daxter issue, and that's just that. It's that era of like, Dreamcast is dead, and then PS2 is the one taking up steam, and it's like, look at all these games. His Zone of the Enders coming out later.
Yeah,
PS2.
I remember when I saw that footage and scans of that game. I was blown away because it looked great, running at 60 FPS, great graphics for its time, really good stuff. So yeah, for visual, for a game from early 2000s, it looked great for its time. But and nowadays it's And
nowadays, I'd argue the first game's a bit aged, but if you play the HD collection, I think it holds up.
Yeah, does it run smooth still on the HD collection? Because I heard there were some comparisons.
Well,
where the 360
I've only played the
passed
360 version, and that one it held up well. So
Okay.
I don't know if it's different, if the PS3 version's different.
I played the PS3 version, and I can tell you, the frame rate kind of chugs a little
Okay,
bit.
so it's one of those where somehow the 360 version is better. No
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah, it's
I
not.
think I looked up the price of the HD collection, and it was like £3. So I'm thinking that's a bargain, especially. since
Yeah, it's
like,
cheap. It is pretty cheap.
compatible.
Yes. Yeah, the first game, they didn't bother fixing the frame rate. The frame rate is not unplayable, but you can notice that it kind of chugs. For the second game, when we get there, we'll get to there. We'll get there. But yeah, for the first game, like I said, the frame rate kind of chugs. Also, we can talk about the we talked about the gameplay and the voice acting, but I think let's move on to the gameplay. It's a hack and slash combat, third-person combat game. Where you can, it's not deep. There's not a lot of combos you can do, but the combat is fun for its time. You press square to slash with square. No, you press square to shoot some laser, not laser beams, little laser shots, and then circle to use your sword in a close combat whenever you're close to an enemy an unmanned enemy orbital frame.
Okay.
Yeah, and you use triangle to ascend and X to descend.
Wait, there's only the Enders anime? No, I was looking up the prices.
Yeah, there
of
actually
the game.
there actually is a Zone the Other thing anime, and I only watched 3 episodes of it. It's fine.
There's
What
two
I've
of them.
seen, it's fine.
There's an OVA, which is a prequel to the first game.
Oh no!
Yeah, there's like.
Yeah, the OVA is good. The OVA is really good.
Never seen it.
Honestly didn't know it existed until just now. I was just looking up prices of the collection. What I find funny is that the PS3 one goes for like a lot more, a little bit more than the 360 one. So there's no demo on the. Actually, that's another thing with Metal Gear Rising. The demo was actually on the Blu-ray. It's,
Yes.
Yes. It is on, yeah. Where in the 360 version, it was a separate disc.
Yeah. Not that it matters now. I mean, I already own the full game on 360, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's fine.
So we described the combat for this game. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Honestly, I think it's really hard for me to like bring up an exact parallel because Zone of the Enders was at that time where we didn't fully have like a standard for how combat in games would be, or like here's like your like you kind of have now where there's like a kind of a formula where like you can expect, like if it's an action game, you kind of expect it to have like these certain things. PS2 era, I always say, is a very experimental time, and Zone of the Enders perfectly encapsulates that. It's a game that when you play, it feels like it's from that era.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit of what's it called? I'm blinking on it. I think we could describe it as a tech demo of some sort.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. There's definitely tech demo.
It's got that Konami look to it, you know, where things are like super smooth. At least Konami PS2 look. It's weird when I describe that because it's kind of like how everything is like super smooth looking, yet blocky at the same time. But that could be said for any sort of PS2 game at that era.
Oh, the human models look very blocky.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they aimed for like a different style in the second one, and they slightly hold up better, I think, from what I remember.
Yeah, it does. There's also less like you actually like. I don't remember. You don't really see like human models. It's whenever there is, it's usually like either kind of like a still frame or what I call the not Kodak conversation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. In the second game, they're anime characters, 2D anime.
Yeah.
For the
technically holds up more.
Yeah. For the FMVs and the radio calls, they're represented by anime characters. That's for the second game. For the first game, it's a blocky early 2000s to 3D models, which
Because the only three did the main protagonist have blue hair? Because all I remember about him is just falling and getting himself stuck in a robot.
Pretty much. That's pretty much his character.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Stuck in a robot.
Seriously, because if I resume my save or restart on like the HD collection if I get it, I'm probably just going to be like, oh yeah, that's what happened, and then forget again.
It's not Zone of the Enders 1 is not a very complex narrative. It's just there's a lot of elements at play, but generally I would say the story is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, pretty much.
Zone of the Enders 2 is a different story.
Yeah, 2 is
do both games have an overworld? Because that's all I remember at 1. It had like a sort of overworld with sort of side missions that had a time limit.
One has an overworld.
Yes, there's an overworld. Where you can also play some optional SOS missions where you can protect some civilians from some.
Do those affect the game at all?
For the final rating, yes.
Oh,
just rating. There's not like different cuts.
Yeah,
in the
you know, like how Metal Gear Solid has those ratings at the end. It's literally the same.
Yeah,
I never got very good ratings in MGS. I'm probably not going to get any good ones here.
Yeah, for the first game, there's an overworld, and there are story missions and SOS missions. The SOS missions are I think there are like 5 of them in the game, and they're optional. Aside from the rating, they don't. They don't affect anything story-wise.
Yeah, this is not a very long game. It is very, very short.
It's like, oh crap, we need more content. Let's put in some side missions. Oh wait, we only have 5. Whatever, get it out. With the MGS2 demo, that'll boost the value.
Yeah.
The thing is, I'm kind of curious about those prices from the time. So it makes you wonder how much this was sold for originally.
Probably standard, honestly, because like here's the thing. While this game is very short, I do think the first game has some replay value. Especially if you want to.
Yeah,
sorry, no, go ahead.
I've noticed that with like shorter games, they try to add in as much replay value, but at least this, I mean, if it's kind of actually, I noticed that a lot with a Konami thing. You know, they did that with Ground Zeroes. whole game that's a demo. But I think that was kind of pushing the concept a bit too far.
I think there was also Konami's call. Yeah, Kojima didn't authorize that, but that was in Kojima's decision. Was it Konami's?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, that's like a whole other thing.
Yeah, that's a whole other story.
Did Kojima have anything to do with the first game at all? Because I know he did with the second. At least his company did.
Oh yes, yes he did. Kojima was
Producer for the first.
I don't think
both games. Just producer.
Well,
Oh, okay.
he was just producer for both. So he wasn't super involved, but I know he was involved in certain aspects. But yeah, it's not like his baby in like.
No, it doesn't feel like a thing. I think he would have gone harder on it if it was, but then I guess he was super busy on MGS2. I guess so. It's like that's his thing. That was his focus, and it really shows in that game.
Yeah.
Dude, MGS2 has realistic, real-time ice melting.
Yes.
No freaking reason. It's just there.
Yeah, they really. Yeah.
Yes.
You can
I just missed, but
you can shoot you can shoot an ice bucket, and then you see the ice cube melt in real time.
It's only the enders can't say that.
Nope, they can't.
Nope.
But you do pilot a great not Gundam, and that's fun.
Yeah, GOT.
Especially when you get like all the extra kind of gun upgrades, and you fight a lot of the bosses, which I kind of find at least in the first game are very hit or miss.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Because some of the
I'll need to start a fresh save and just start over it again. Because being that short, I could probably just beat it in a single section if I really put my mind.
If you're dedicated enough, you can. Not even dedicated enough. If you set aside, I would say 5 hours and just go through the game, you can easily do that.
Yeah, because once I get back to being able to, use my room to play my games, because that's where they all are. I could probably do that. Or at least take a break in between and then do what you did and then beat the last 30 minutes in one session.
Yeah, but I didn't know that was the final boss. I thought there was more to the game.
Oh yeah.
That's happened to me with longer games where I'm like, oh, am I at the final one or not? And it's like, oh. But it's usually with like full length games, or sometimes I'll pick up on it more, but other times I'm like really caught off guard by like, oh wait, that's the final bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's
Serial. I do have to actually say,
yeah.
Since you played the first one, how do you think it holds up today?
I think it's okay. It doesn't compare to the second game. The second game is a whole different thing. But I think it's kind of aged a little bit, but I can see some enjoyment out of it. I can see it being enjoyable a little bit. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. It's the second game is as a whole.
It's not too hard to.
No, oh no.
That's the thing.
If you're playing on normal, there's a bit of a challenge. A little bit, especially with bosses.
A little bit.
Yeah, especially with bosses. Because I remember when I was a kid, when
the
I
game
was
does offer a good challenge.
Yes, if you're playing on normal or hard, yes, especially with bosses. But if you're playing on easy, it's
You've been playing on before.
I recommend going with normal if you're going to play for the first time.
Yeah, I need to go normal on the unless if it's a game I don't care about, then I'm like, yeah, easy. If I do want to have it normal, but sometimes normal is easy anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. It depends on the game most, especially. Or you can have a DMC3 situation where the Western normal mode is Japan's hard mode for some freaking reason.
Yeah. But actually, mentioning differences with the second game, I noticed that the PAL copy, it said it had like stuff in it that wasn't in the NTSC version.
Oh.
Yeah, it said like I don't have the case on me. I'll try and find the back of the box just to kind of quote what it says while you're preaching it.
Okay. But yeah, is there anything else you want to? I guess you should probably say before we switch to the second game.
Yeah, the sub weapons.
Yes.
The sub weapons are really hit or miss in the first game. Like there's the sniper one, which you only use it in like one mission and you never use it ever again. It's like making it makes GOT your robot like stand still and aim for like one location, bam, and that's it. You can't move and it's slow, and yeah, you'll never use it after that, after a certain mission in the game.
Yeah, voice required. There's a lot of very situational sub-weapons. Like you only use this when you're dealing with this sort of enemy. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to find that cover still button. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay. No, it's not in good enough quality. I can't zoom in on this.
Dang.
Okay, yeah.
I'm trying to find a good high quality one without going to some dodgy site. Because I'm just like, this one's in German, damn. Anyway, either way, yeah, they said that the second game in Europe said it had like more additions.
Yeah, the HD version.
Yeah, special edition.
Yeah, the HD version includes the special European version of 2.
Includes new gameplay sequences and polygon demos.
I have
a new opening demo. More secret extras. So I'm stretching over to see my monitor. New 3D models and further improved graphics. Okay,
that's for the second.
I honestly didn't. Yeah, for the second game. Yeah, they said that's the difference between the two versions. So I guess the NTSC region didn't get that, but they probably just included that in the HD collection anyway.
Yeah, that's all there in the HD version. And of course also in the newer version, the Mars.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they included a whole new planet.
No, it's called Mars.
Yeah.
Oh, right. The robot's called Mars. Right.
Okay. So I think that's about it for the first game. So yeah, it like.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, there's not much to talk about. It kind of
game 2. So yeah, that's the only one to get re-released twice.
Yeah, the second game is the one that got released twice.
Not so much the first game.
Yeah.
First I was confused, it's like, why are they passing in game 1, and in retrospect it's like, oh yeah, that's why.
Yeah, so let's get to the second game. The second game,
Second Runner Mars.
The second runner, originally released in 2003 on the PlayStation 2, and later got released as part of the HD collection 2011, and later in 2018 as a standalone remaster. And it's set, I think, like 2 years after the first game, where you play as a mine worker with the amazing name of Dingo Egret. And
that's his name?
Yes.
I love it. Love his freaking name.
Did they just choose a name they thought would sound super American?
No, I think maybe they
Australia.
think,
what the fuck am I talking about?
Dingo Egrets. Yeah, I think they think people from the future will have dumber names. I think something like that. That's just a guess.
No, see, he's from the future, so like it's okay. That's actually a normal name. There's like several dingoes in this universe, you know.
Oh.
Okay, so you play as a mine worker called Dingo Egret, who is a former Bahram soldier, and while he's working in Callisto, one of the moons of Jupiter, he stumbled upon a container, and inside the container is none other than GOT, the robot from the orbital frame robot from the first game. So once he discovered the orbital frame, suddenly a Bahram spaceship starts invading the satellite and started attacking the mines. Dingo had no choice but to pilot the orbital frame and start fighting the Bahram the Bahram forces, and discover why the Callisto, what is their goal from attacking the colony. Then he gets into a spaceship, into the Bahram spaceship, and he meets his old commander, who was introduced at the end of the first game. Was it commander or general? Yes, Noman. He's the bad guy you fight at the end of the first game, who is piloting Anubis, who's supposed to be the twin orbital frame, that's like the it's like the counterpart of GOT, but he's a lot more upgraded.
It's the liquid snake to solid snake.
Basically, yeah.
Could be.
Yeah. So in the first game, you fight him as like an impossible boss fight, an unwinnable boss fight, because
one of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It's unwinnable. There's no way.
Yeah. After you lose a certain amount of health, you have to escape later. So yeah, Dingo meets Noman, his old commander, and after he tries to make him come back and join the Bahram forces, Dingo refuses and he shoots him in the back. So he shoots him in the back and presumed that he killed him. But it turns out, a few months later, he was revived, thanks to Noman's second in command, a woman named Kin Marineris, who secretly saved Dingo and gave him implanted new organs, the only artificial organs, a heart and a lung and lungs, that only works when he's inside GOT. So he can't leave the orbital frame. He can't leave GOT. If he leaves his new implanted organs stop working, and so he's forced to work with Karen Manaris as a way to defeat the Bahram forces behind Noman's back. So he goes to Mars and he does a few odd jobs here and there, and yeah, that's about it when it comes to this story. But we'll discuss it later as we go on.
I'm that whole bit with the organs. I'm like, wait, how far did I get into game 2 then? Because I don't recall any of that.
Yeah, probably not that far. I would assume.
No, I
probably
think
got to the at least played the opening where you find JOT in those snow.
I played 2 just for comparison of 1 because I wanted to get 1 out of the way, even though the games aren't really connected aside from the robot, presumably. Again, I really should play both, but because they seem like fun.
Yeah,
it's just annoying me. It's like I can't access my systems. So, yeah.
Also, Ken is great. That's all I want to say.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. All right. Cool.
Cool.
We can agree on that.
Yeah. So yeah, when it comes to structure, gameplay-wise, the second game ditches the whole overworld with the optional missions and stuff like that. And it just goes for a linear level structure. Just go from point A to point B, and that's it. It's as straightforward as it gets. As for the combat, I think it's a lot more smoother and snappier than the first game. It's really improved, a lot more faster and quicker, and it's definitely an improvement from the first game. Also, most of the sub weapons are an improvement from the first game. Like there are a lot more variety, and you'll find yourself using a lot of the sub weapons, a lot more than there's like less situational sub weapons in the second game than the first one.
Yeah, it's just improved.
Yeah,
it's like the best thing I could say.
Yeah, it's an improvement.
About these sub weapons, what things do we have?
Yeah, you switch to them using the D-pad. I think for the first game, I think you can only switch them from the start menu, I think. But for the second game, you can.
Oh wow!
Well, it's either a start menu or like a.
Yeah. For the second game, you can quickly switch them with the D-pad.
Because gameplay-wise, I'm guessing that the because presumably you played via the PS4 version. How different is it from the HD collection and PS2 versions, or is it mainly the same?
I only played the demo of the PS4 version, but
I played I played the PS4/PC because there is a PC release
Yes.
Oh, there is.
on Steam
Yes, it's
for
okay.
Zone the Ender Second Wonder Mars.
yes.
And I can just say right now that it is much better, as in it's much more stable.
Yes.
Yeah, he's even more stable, for sure, and with proper in quotation marks, kind of like HD looks compared to before, where it was HD, but like now it actually like fully looks like that. Resolution is a bit higher. All your standard affair. It's just like a much prettier and much more stable version of the game that is already pretty good on the HD collection anyway.
Yes.
So,
if I'm not mistaken, when the second game came out, it also suffered from the same problem as the first game with the terrible frame rate. But then Kojima Productions hired a studio called Hexadrive to fix the second game. And so they released a patch for the second game in which they managed to fix the frame rate. So the frame rate for the HD collection, or for the second game, the HD collection, is much more stable. If you download the patch, that is.
Oh right, yeah, because that's why I'm debating re-getting the HD collection on 360. Is like, it would probably run smooth, but it have to be patched. Or do I just get the PS4 when I'm leaning towards PS4? Because I can, from the demo I also tried, I just
if you don't care about the first game, which is totally fine, because the first game is one you can't skip.
I own it on PS2. It's okay.
Yeah, the first game, while we said that like it's perfectly fine, you can skip it. The second game is really like amazing.
Yes.
Why else? Yeah, I mean, why else would they, give it European exclusive upgrades and then re-release it on PS4 on its own?
I also want to point out that the main and antagonist,
Noman
of the game, the one with white head.
Yeah, Noman.
Is it the box art of 2?
I thought it was Lloyd or Leoid. It's like Lio.
Oh,
Lloyd,
no.
Lloyd, yes.
No. Lloyd is like a side character that you meet and like him halfway.
Oh
in the
yeah,
game.
okay. Now it's been a while, but yeah. So he and I believe the thing he pilots are both designed by
Kazuma Kaneko. The persona,
Kaneko
and,
from Mega Man Tensei.
yes, both in his his orbital frame and Hertz. And he has the most unique boss fights in the entire game. I love his boss fight. He's like he hides in like the darkness, and you can only the battle AI for your robot Ada can only pinpoint his location, and then you have to fly to him, but you also can't see his attacks. She only tells you to dodge or evade or step to the left or step to the right before you get to him, all while you're traveling in like a dark area.
Nice.
Yeah. You've played it too, Ethan. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, it's great.
Yeah, it's see the PS. Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, when it comes to boss fights, it's a lot more satisfying and a lot better, a lot more better designed than the first game. It's much more enjoyable, especially the recruiting antagonist in the second game, a robot with an AI called Niftis. It's controlled by an AI of a character from the first game called Viola. But it's not the same Viola from the first game. It's actually an AI based on her personality. Since I don't know if I should say it. You know what? Let's keep it at that. Yeah, let's keep it at that. It's an AI based off a character of the first game.
Because I'm seeing the PS4 one here actually sells for a really good price too, at about like £8. So I'm thinking, I'll probably skip the HD collection, just aim straight for that.
Yeah. So yeah, for Niftis, the AI controlled orbital frame, she always uses a shield that prevents you from attacking her head on. So you have to also always come up with a way to break her shield from afar. So you fight her 3 times in the game, but in each time there's always a unique way to. You always think of a unique way of breaking her shield. So yeah, when it comes to boss fights, they're really fun, enjoyable, really.
Yeah, they're all really good.
Really good.
Yeah, I just shared the art that we were talking about before, in case you didn't see.
Oh yeah, that's
so like these 2 were the designs.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very obvious.
Yeah,
Persona artist.
Yeah, it's by the Persona and Shin Megami Tensei artist. But the rest of the robots and characters are designed by Yuji Shinkawa, who's the same character and the same character designer for the Metal Gear games.
Oh yeah,
and it shows. It shows.
Yes.
It totally does.
Which is why I really like Shinkawa's art. Which is why I was really bummed when they canceled that 3rd game. Because they're really going with some.
Oh, there was going to be a 3rd?
Yes.
It was only the... Wow, okay. I honestly didn't know that, because honestly, I was surprised with the random announcement of, this re-release on PS4.
I'm pretty sure everyone was, because this totally came out of left field.
Because that's how, when I got the impression, I just thought it was a VR-only game. It's like, oh, it's the 2nd game, but in VR. Then I found out, oh no, it's a mode. But you can also play the game standard, which... Okay, how do... So... Have you played it in VR at all, or not? Because honestly, I wouldn't know how that would
do not own
work.
a VR headset. I know someone that does and says that it's fun, and definitely feels more like a, like you're actually like piloting, and even like the HUD and everything is there, so instead of having the camera be like outside and 3rd person, so it's definitely a different experience.
Yeah, I bet it's fun.
So,
I'd love to try it, because that and RE7, say if I got a headset, I'd have 2 games I can play in both modes and be like, value.
Yeah, so that's definitely good. So we're talking about modes. One thing I think we should at least mention from Zone of the Enders 2 is that it actually different versions of Jerity that you can start the game with.
Hold on. Your voice was cut off for a second there.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so I think we should talk about, like, if we're gonna talk about like modes, or at least additions from Zone of the Enders 2. The 2nd game added in proper New Game Plus.
Yes.
Yes. So after you beat the game, you can use your clear save data and replay the game again with different versions of Jerity.
Yes, because there's Jerity and there's Jerity version 2, and then there's damaged Jerity, and then finally naked Jerity, which is like it exposes his endoskeleton or something like that. That's like the fine.
Or I thought it was Mummy. Or is that another one?
No. Yeah, it's like naked Jerity is
So
basically.
It didn't have...
Yeah, it was covered in like layers of armor, and with the naked Jerity is basically without the armor.
Huh.
Yeah, it's just like.
If you play as anything too, I actually just looked it up. If you play as damaged Jerity, it actually skips some of the levels because it.
Wait, really?
Yeah, because
Really?
you don't have access to like a lot of the
Sub
bot
weapons.
like weapons and
Yes.
such. Yeah,
Yes.
for sub weapons, so you literally can't beat some missions.
Yes.
So was the New Game Plus only... Was it in the PS2 original or only in PS4?
No, it was in the
HD,
PS2
or-
original,
Yes.
Oh, it was, okay.
Yes. PS2 was in.
but the first game didn't have that.
Yes.
The first game just had the original beat it, and that was it. I mean, it was short enough, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
But still.
There's
Okay,
also
well, that's neat to know, because I like replaying a game even if not immediately with the new additions.
Oh yeah, there's also something about that was also in the first game but improved and refined in the second game, which is versus mode, where you get to play as different robots against each other, either with a second player or with an AI. So in the first
Honestly,
game,
I had
Isn't
no
that the
idea
mode
there
where you
was
can play as the Vic Viper?
yes. No. That's another mode called Zeradius, which basically you unlock.
Oh yeah, that's the.
We'll get to that later. So back to the versus mode. You could get to play as GOT or any of the other boss characters. the bosses you fight in the game. But there are boss fights, boss characters that can only unlock if you play the game on a second time. And there's like hidden paths in the game that leads you to like hidden boss fights that if you complete, you can then unlock these hidden characters in the versus mode. There's like I think there's like three of them, and they're really it's a fun.
I did not know.
It's a fun mode. The versus mode and the extra characters. It's fun when you get to play as different characters. Like Vic Viper can transform into a jet pilot, and his main specialty is when he turns to a robot, he's more close combat oriented. But when he turns into a jet, he's more long distance. He attacks from long distance attacks. And then there's other characters like Anubis. You know, you see how he controls. And there's also it's versus mode is fun it's an opportunity to try different characters from the game.
I was looking up Vic Viper.
Yeah,
I was looking up.
Yeah, go on.
Gradius. It says it's from Gradius.
Yes.
It's the Vic Viper is the Gradius ship, and
yes.
It's a reference basically.
Yeah, and it's
because Konami, so it's like
yeah, it's a reference to Gradius, and it's piloted by Leo, the kid from the first game, who's now grown up as a teenager, and is less whiny than the first.
Now grown up with more angst.
Yes.
He has more angst and a Ryu headband for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
They literally gave him a white headband.
And believe it or not, he's voiced by the same kid, now all grown up.
Yeah, and actually
they very rarely do that.
It's the same kid, grown up, and he actually sounds better.
Yeah.
Well, at least he improved. So.
Yes. It's a cool, a cool reference, But yeah, like I said, there's the versus mode where you get to play as different robots in versus mode, and then there's another mode which was not in the first game called EX missions or extra missions. It's basically like VR for the Metal Gear Solid 2.
Are they like Metal Gear Solid VR missions, or?
Yeah, kind of like that. There's boss fights, and there's like destroy a couple targets in a certain time limit, something like that. And you unlock some of them in game. There's like hidden icons for EX missions that you find you find throughout the game. Because some of them are unlocked after you beat the game, but some of them are hidden, and some of them are locked, and you can only play them if you find their icons in game. So, like I said, there's
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but there's like boss fights or target
There's
practice.
definitely a lot more to it in this one.
Yes.
And
also, like I said, among the missions, there are boss fights. And if you go to the boss fight, if you go to the Vic Viper boss fights and pause the game and enter the Konami code, you unlock a new different mode called Zeradius, which is basically Gradius, but in 3D. You get to play as Vic Viper, and it's a jet mode, and you destroy targets, just like the original Gradius. So yeah, cool reference. Yeah, it's an I haven't tried it in HD, but I'm pretty sure in an HD version, but I'm pretty sure it still exists.
And it's good.
Yes, I think there's also a trophy for it, for completing it.
What rating? If we had to give it a rating, because I guess we're doing it now.
Yeah. So obviously, if you're gonna rate the games individually, obviously, yeah. Individually, I'm gonna go the second game. The first game, I'm gonna give it like a 2. If a 3, if a 2 or a 3, if I'm being a little generous. It's alright, but it aged a little bit. The second game is an easy 5 for me. I love this Zone of the Enders, the second runner. It's perfect and it improves upon everything from the first game and then some. Easy recommendation. I'd say the HD version. If I'm gonna rate the HD remaster, I'm gonna give it a 3 because I wish they fixed the frame rate issues for the first game, because they didn't bother fixing the frame rates for the first game, but they did fix it for the second game. And yeah, if you're curious and want to try the first game, either play the original PS2 version if you own a PS2, or get the 360 version, the 360 version of the remaster, because I believe the frame rate I think is better for the 360 version. It doesn't chug like the PS3 version. As for the second game, it's easy. If you want to skip the first game, easily go for the PS4 remaster. It improves upon the remaster, and it goes, I think, for like 4K, I believe, and it comes with a VR mode if you're curious. And yeah, that's and it's also available on Steam. So if you're a PC gamer, if you don't own a PlayStation or 360, yeah, go with the Steam version for the PS4 remaster. So I think that's about it for our thoughts on the Zone of the Enders HD collection. I think this is this is the part where we start answering questions, but like with the previous episode, we didn't get any. So I think this is the part where we should each one of you do each one of you plug their accounts and stuff like that. So where do we find you on the internet? Let's start with Gumshoe Gamer.
Well, my Twitter is at the Gumshoe Gamer now, and you can follow me there for funny beams and just random things that I think are funny, and then later I find out they're actually not funny. I also have my own podcast, which is now being uploaded to YouTube with its own channel and everything. So that's kind of great. And yeah, that you can find me on there, or my website, which is thegumshoegamer.com.
Alrighty, and let's move on with the Melee Mario. Where can we find you?
Okay, so my main, well, I think my main-ish place would be, you can find my videos on Meleemario720 on YouTube. I'm also the same name on Twitter, where I'm most active. Not so much on Instagram, but I'm on there anyway. And I have a drawing page called Otis Beard Draws, all one word, both on Twitter and Instagram as well. And I do have a Twitch, not as commonly used, Meleemario364. So in the rare instance, I'll stream a PS4 game that has scenes blocked. That's where you can find me, but I don't really use it. But hey, it's there anyway.
Oh yeah, I also stream. I keep forgetting that, to mention that. But yeah, you can find my Twitch at Gumshoe Gamer. Pretty much just search up Gumshoe Gamer and you'll find everything. Pretty much.
Alrighty.
Right. So I guess that wraps up the 6th episode of Backlog Banter. But before we end this episode, I'd like to make an announcement here about the future of the show. Yeah, I'm afraid this is gonna be the last episode of this podcast, so I'll be making one for a while, because I got real life obligations and stuff like that. So I probably won't have a lot of free time like I used to, because I'm gonna be back to work soon. So yeah, sadly, this is gonna be the final episode of this podcast. But it's not. I'm gonna say it's the end of the podcast, but don't expect to see one till much later. But I'd like to bring back the podcast one day and start talking about video games, because that's what I like to do. But for the time being, I'm gonna have to, and you're gonna see a new episode for a while. So, yeah, but I'd like to bring it one day, but who knows? So I think that's about it for this episode of Backlog Banter. Otis, Ethan, thank you so much for making it for this episode. And
No problem.
yeah, we had fun. Yeah,
great.
we had fun talking about video games and stuff like that.
We had fun, as evidence from the length of this.
Yes. And we didn't have to answer questions to pad the time.
Who needs questions when you can just talk about video games?
Yeah.
And I'm glad. Yeah. I'm glad I could finally get all my thoughts out about Ratchet Clank, because I already sort of condensed them into a review, but it was just nice to say them out. Usually when I don't have the opportunity to do so. So yeah, at least there's that.
Yeah. So, I guess that's about it for this episode of Backlog Banter. Hopefully we will bring this show back one day. If anyone want to know what I talk about, if anyone wants to, for the time being, if anyone wants to know what are my opinions on video games and stuff like that, you can follow me on my Twitter at SerialK86. That's where you can find me. So that's about it for this episode of Backlog Banter. This is Serial K and his two guests signing off. Later. Bye.
Bye.